What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to the pilot episode of our brand new show. Spoiler alerts, I'm Chanmanv. He's Elohai.
Oh, you're gonna intro me for me? I thought we were gonna do like I'm Chanman, like I'm Elohai. We'll never get these intros
right. And then I freeze frame so people can screen cap that.
That's
and
right.
It real
That's
quick.
right. Okay.
Only diction. You know.
Well, I'm so excited, man. God, we've been talking about this show. Adam, like, how long have we been talking about this, Elo? It's just been since November.
Since November,
right?
I think. Yeah, since I think we talked about it at BlizzCon.
Yes.
We talked about. Remember, we sat down at
God.
BlizzCon. You were like, "Hey, man, we need to figure out how to do this show or do a show." And I'm like, "All right, let's figure it out."
Dude,
how many months later did it take us to finally get one off the ground?
You guys hit me up about it like 3 months ago. I think it was before PAX East. Definitely before PAX East.
Yeah, PAX East. So
it's been a while.
Even prediction has been a few months.
Yeah,
but we're finally here today. And why don't we explain, I guess, what the show is going to be for folks that might not have seen the promo video and everything that we put out last week. Elham, you want to do that?
Yeah. So this is episode 1 of our new show, Spoiler Alert, and the show is going to be covering all sorts of different forms of entertainment, and we're going to basically have open discussion about certain movies, TV, anime, video games, comics, whatever, what have you. And we're basically all just going to have, like I said, a open discussion, meaning spoilers included. Yes. So, for instance, today we're going to be talking about, hence the title, Spoiler Alert. That's like that's like in the movie when they say the title of the movie in the movie. You know, they're like, "Oh, they said it."
Even if I'm like sitting alone watching a movie and they say the title of the movie, I just go title. I like check it off for myself.
Title. So basically, this was kind of evolution of ideas, but basically what we got was sometimes when Game of Thrones or when other TV shows or movies come out and we just avoid Twitter and we avoid all these things to not get things spoiled for us. But after we watch those things or read those things, we want to talk about them. Like we want to talk about them. And it's not really a safe space to do so on social media because there's other people who haven't seen them. So the idea is that this would kind of be our safe place to get together. We would have a discussion about whatever it is that we're covering, and we would probably talk for an hour or so, and then we would pick another movie, show, anime, what have you, and we would give people a week to watch or read that, and then we would talk about it next week. So at the end of the show, we'll tell you guys what we're going to talk about next week. Hopefully you guys, go on your Netflix or pick a book, whatever we reveal. And then next week we'll get together and we'll talk about that so that you guys can kind of be part of the discussion. So this week we did Game of Thrones season 6. We're going to be talking about everything Game of Thrones season 6. If you have not seen Game of Thrones season 6, now is the time to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. If you don't want it spoiled, because we're going to talk about everything. And we encourage you guys in the chat to talk on along and throw out your theories. And whatever you guys think is going on as well, we'll be reading chat. So, and I just want to say a good hello to everybody there watching, and that I love you guys. So, that's what the basis of the show is.
Yeah, and we definitely want you guys to be part of this too. So obviously, chat will be part of it. But if you want to get an actual question in or just some kind of statement, you can. I think the best way to do it is probably just to email us. So email me or us at spoileralert@chanmanv.tv here. I'll just post it here, and it'll be much more direct way instead of Twitch chat. It did a timeout? Oh my god, I got a message. What's up, Ella? Holy crap, man.
Listen, hold on. Let me here we go. I'm making you an admin now.
Oh my god.
I'm so used to banning people, I almost went right to the ban and hit the ban. There we go.
There we go. Thanks, Monkey Lord, Overlord. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, anyways, so that's what the show's going to be about. We're going to be here each week at this time to just kind of talk about the different things we bring up. And I think when more popular things release, like for instance, we were going to do a show on the Warcraft movie. That's coming up, but if something else comes out that's kind of big in the future, we'll definitely be covering that. But this is basically, like we said, it's going to be a place where we can all finally fucking talk about what we saw. and not feel like we're being assholes to those of us, those around us that have not yet had the time. Well, which I think they should have, especially for Game of Thrones season 6, because Game of Thrones season 6 is so awesome. But before we get into that, what have you guys been up to? Diction, Chan?
I'll go.
Yeah, go for it.
Up to I mean, last 3 days I moved a couple weeks ago, so I've been doing that. I played through Conker's Bad Fur Day last 3 days, and I realized I am really, maybe it's not that I'm bad at these games, it's just that I haven't played like an old school platform in a while. But I've completely forgot how those games worked, and I think I died like maybe 100 times in that playthrough in about like 7 hours of gameplay. But yeah, that's been my shit lately.
But that's like if you go back and play like GoldenEye or like Perfect Dark.
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh wait, we never aimed up or down in this game. Like, like, you don't remember. You just think when you put it in terms of what you've been playing lately. So you're like, Battlefield 1 has the same shooting mechanics as GoldenEye.
Yeah, exactly.
And you go back, and you're like, everything was shit. Like,
yeah, so I was like, I went into it being like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like, you know, like Ratchet and Clank or Jack and Daxter, which are really really good platformers that control beautifully. Not the case. No, whoever designed the camera for Conker's Bad Fur Day, I hope they got fired or something, because it is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. But as a whole, it's a fun game, and it's a really cool. I'm glad that concept got out of, you know, the writing room, because it's pretty interesting to see a cutesy character in a world filled with drunk pieces of poo singing, and you know, like everyone's trying to get laid and everyone's murdering each other and stuff. It's a good time.
This isn't your
Classic
dad's
themes.
banjo, because
Awesome. Yeah.
What have you been up to, Chan?
For me, I've just been playing some Overwatch. Just the new character came out, so enjoying some Ana and seeing how that goes, as well as playing some Pokemon with the kids. I think I've been focused on that. I don't have quite as like these giant Pokemons, all these guys that have that are able to go and hunt for Pokemons for hours every day, but definitely enjoying it, having a good time, getting some exercise too.
Let me see what the biggest Pokemon I have is.
You pulled it up right now. I know mine. You know what's crazy is that my strongest Pokemon isn't even my best Pokemon. Like I have 3 or 4 Gyarados now, and none of them are as strong as my Slowbros. Like I've got high level Slowbros, like around like 1500 CP, and they are so boss. Like I love them so much. Like I can use a Gyarados and try to take over a gym. It take like an hour. I use a Slowbro and it's like 20 minutes. I've been doing that a lot too, Chan, and playing a lot of I was called Anna.
Vaporeon is the biggest one I got. It's 694 CP. Vaporeon. I think it's when I evolved. I didn't catch it.
You know, surprisingly, Magikarp is my biggest one, which a lot of folks don't. Yeah.
Wait, how high is your Magikarp?
My Magikarp is like 480 or something like that.
Wait. Hold on a second. Hold on. You have a 480 Magikarp?
Yeah, it's bizarre, dude.
That is bizarre.
It is totally bizarre, because I went to a random place, like literally one Pokestop in this kind of park area. There was, but it's not like a very popular park. So there's just like a very obscure park, and there's like one Pokestop, and me and my son were just trying out a lure, like for the first time. We're trying out a lure, and then like we ended up getting like a bunch of them, like 6 or 7 of them in a row, and then ever since then we just been picking one up, you know, just every so often wherever we go. So it's just been, I don't know, because I've heard Magikarp is supposed to be harder for everybody.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so our mall's got a lure spot where there's like 4 spots, and you can drop down 4 lures, and you can just basically keep going. But it's like they all spawn water type, and Magikarp comes up a lot. That's why I have like 4 Gyarados. I've had like a wild Gyarados pop up and caught him, like without evolving it. But here's the thing. The highest Magikarp I've ever seen, and the highest one I've evolved, was like 139. Like that's the highest I've ever done it. So did you power up your Magikarp? Did you power him up?
I powered him up. I definitely powered him up.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so you powered him up, because to catch like a wild Magikarp at that
No, I didn't catch a wild one. No.
Okay,
no,
it would result in a
crazy.
Gyarados that would be something over like 3,000
exactly.
CP or something. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
No. I didn't actually find one. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're in Florida, you know, with all the water and stuff around here. I don't know, and some other folks don't have as much water. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's cool. I like the fish, man. Fish are good.
Yeah. The only other thing I guess that's kind of happening before we get into the show talk is I don't know. Have you guys been following this CS:GO gambling thing?
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't want to get too far into
Dude,
it,
that would be
I
a
could we do a
show
whole
by
episode about
itself,
that.
man.
I know. I'm just like sitting here like just watching it all unfold, like some kind of like it's like watching The Wire or something. Like as things become more, it's like it goes higher up the food chain, and like all of a sudden DJ Wheat's gonna like resign or some shit
my
because he was
God.
part of it too.
DJ Wheat owns like he's
Goes
the
all the way to the
godfather
White
of
House.
all of them.
Yeah, he's been running the CS.
He's the umbrella company for all of these websites. No, it's crazy, especially when it's like folks that you know or you know of or you're an acquaintance of. It's pretty bizarre, and it's sad, to be honest. It's just who knows what's gonna happen to these guys, right? Like if we see YouTubers behind bars, that would be surreal, man. Really,
well,
really
you only get like one shot at this, right?
One shot.
You only get one shot at
bars.
being out and being a public figure. You only have really one shot at that. As soon as your reputation is destroyed, and for reasonable reasons, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, what do? You just go get a job at IKEA? Like what? Like what do you do from there? You must be like going into your businesses and spending more time with those if you've created other businesses, I guess. But it's like your life as a public figure is, in a lot of ways like tainted. It's kind of over. It's like that what's his name that stood up. Everybody always compares me to him. Zillion OP.
Zillion.
Like he still does his streaming thing, I think, on Hitbox, but that's kind of
ouch.
That's
rough.
That's the rough part right there.
I feel like that's where I'm gonna go when I'm old and retired. It's like
that's like the Twitch equivalent of being sent to the hole in prison, Like
yeah. It's very much like that.
All right,
so,
well, let's get back to Game of Thrones though. Otherwise,
let's start it. Let's start it.
Let's start it. All right, so Game of Thrones season 6. Just
by the way, we're doing spoilers now. This is the part where we're talking about season 6.
This is the disclaimer, and we'll officially have a disclaimer before every single week, before getting into the big discussions, at least. All right, so that's our disclaimer. So if you don't want to be spoiled in terms of the season 6, just mute your volume. You can keep watching the video, just our pretty faces and everything. Just mute the volume. But all right, season 6, guys. I figured the best way to tackle it would be just first impressions, just your thoughts on season 6 compared to the previous season. How about that? Diction?
Actually, it was a hell of a lot more satisfying.
Yeah.
The one word I would use is catharsis. Like it felt like catharsis the whole way through. Every character that just got shit on in season 5 and their lives ruined, possibly maimed, like they I feel like almost every single one of them got some sort of redemption by the end of season 6, which was nice. Because the last season, I was like, I hate this season. It seems like they're just being unusually cruel because they don't have books to fucking pull from, So they're like, is this how George R. R. Martin writes? This is how he writes, right? He just basically punishes characters. He just punishes them, right? Okay. All right, let's just do that. Right? Either he kills them or he fucks up their lives for all eternity. Okay, let's just do that.
Yeah.
But now I realize they were actually writing towards something, and it wasn't just like a cop out,
Yeah.
So that makes me appreciate the last season a hell of a lot more.
Well, that's what they've always been saying, right? The dragons are coming. They're coming. They're right around the horizon. They're on their way.
They're on their way.
6 seasons for something to happen with the dragons, but they're on their way. No, but I felt the same way. I think redemption was definitely like part of the theme here. It just felt good to finally, after 5 seasons of constantly watching people get shit on, to see things like Sansa and Jon Snow reunite.
That's
just to see that reunite. Exactly. It's like finally one of the Stark kids meet back up, and they're like, oh shit, like it's pretty nice. And when I saw that, like I was so filled with emotion, especially because I sound like such a vagina, but it's true. Like I was filled with so much emotion because like I've been reading the books for a while now, and like none of these Stark kids have like seen each other, and you've been waiting forever for them to like run back into each other and be like, oh shit, where have you been? Oh, and in the case of like Jon Snow, it's like, I just got resurrected. Where have you been? I've been banging some people. I hate. What have you been doing? Like, I don't know. It's pretty good. I thought it was I thought it was a really great season. I don't know if it was the best season, but if it wasn't the best season, it's pretty close.
I feel like
I mean, I think for me it was one of the better seasons. I don't think it was the best season for me, and a lot of what you guys were talking about, I think a lot of things were resolved, or a lot of things the fans have been wanting to see for a while. Like just Ramsey finally getting killed, and a lot of things like that being resolved.
And such justice there, right? Eaten by his own dogs,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say the season was a little slow, but the last 2 episodes, I think, were very, very satisfying. At least
I don't mind the slowness as long as like what's being portrayed is interesting. Like I'm a sucker for the really sharp, clever dialogue between like back and forth between characters in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's honestly my favorite part of the show, and I feel like season 6 had a lot of that, like a good amount of it.
Yeah. The marine aspect of it.
A lot of character building, a lot more character building. You learn more about different characters and a little bit of their backstories, where they're going, how they're feeling now, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I felt like for once in like years, like it's gotta be like 2 or 3 years now, I haven't felt like I've seen like a true season ending episode, like the last really episode, good, like it just seems like shows nowadays, it's more popular to have like the second to last episode be really incredible, and then the last episode is just a build up for the next season.
Yeah,
and they do that in like shows like like Walking Dead. They've done that. They've done that in Game of Thrones. Like it never feels like the end is like the season finale. Like what happened to the season finale? And everybody gathers around to watch it, and then everybody's like, what? I felt like this time though with season 6 was the first time I've seen a finale and went like, yeah, finally. I feel like like Diction said, it was a build up, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, it's like climax,
payoff.
Yeah, you're jizzing everywhere. You love it.
All over.
You're like, all over.
The second to last episode was still good too. So they still kept that pattern going. But yeah, the last one was definitely much better. It's probably the best finale of all 6 seasons.
That scared me. Yeah. Like Jon Snow, when they had like the second to last episode, and that was an amazing episode. That made me think the next episode wouldn't have anything like real substance. I thought they might throw us a few things, but it was better. It was better. It was a better episode than the second to last. So let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah,
sure.
How do you feel about Rickon?
I'm really bad with names.
I'm just throwing this. I just was thinking about the second to last episode, so I'm just asking you, how do you feel about Rickon?
I'm really bad with some of the names of the ancillary characters. Who's Rickon?
The fact that you're asking who's Rickon is
that's a good point. That's
probably the best response you could have given me. Rickon was the youngest of the Starks, the very youngest, who went with Osha.
It's Recon, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who went with Osha to go to the north to some wildlings on the west coast, northwest area, and then he was just like captured all of a sudden and showed up, and then he's the one who's running when Ramsay Bolton is
the one who was gone for 6 seasons and all of a sudden shows up.
Yeah, that's why asking who's Rickon is like,
I think there were a lot of fans.
The not cripple, someone said in chat.
the not cripple.
Jesus.
I even saw places where people were saying, "Is he really a Stark kid? I mean, is he one of those fake guys that actually got burnt, fake children that got burned at the stake or whatnot?" Yeah. He was a very forgettable character, and I mean, he didn't have any. There was no point to him really. We
haven't seen him since like season 3, so like. We never really got to know him.
I mean, there were, with the whole recon thing where, obviously he gets shot by an arrow, and it's supposed to be the reason why Jon Snow, attacks.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. And it's him getting killed is the reason why Jon Snow reacts emotionally and, jumps into battle early instead of doing what was originally planned. I mean, that whole scene was because nobody really cared about the kid. I mean, that scene didn't really have as much impact. I think
if it was Arya or something, then I'd be like, no, go run. Like I would have been a lot more invested in that sequence.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would have been invested in that sequence if anyone was there, because it was kind of ridiculous, right? Like that's the one thing I didn't like about the second episode. This one thing I didn't like about it was Rickon's death was so fucking dumb. Like if you're running from a dude who you know is going to be shooting arrows at you, I understand you're scared. Whatever. You're running in a straight line. You're trying to catch up with your family. You're trying to meet.
Zigzag, dude.
Zigzag, man.
He was not
like,
zigzagging.
Literally, if some guy was
better.
like, if some guy walked me out and he had a fucking bow and arrows and was like, hey, man, you need to run, I would get about 20 yards out, 20, 30 yards out, and then I would be looking at him.
Exactly,
like,
looking back at him.
I would be
right?
looking at, I would be running kind of and looking
and
keeping him out. And when I see him,
like, exactly.
when I see him notch and shoot an arrow, I'm gonna run to the right or left because he's anticipating me running forward, and then the arrow catches up, and then whatever. Like, run to the right, run to the left, like do something. Like by the time he was shot, I'm just like, bitch, you deserved it.
Yeah,
like,
well, so
you deserve to die because you're not smart enough to dodge.
So here's another question: was Ramsey just missing on purpose until he got there?
I think that was what was supposed to be felt
okay,
right, that he was missing on purpose. But at the same time, I don't care how good of an archer you are. If you're shooting a moving target, okay, running in a straight line, that's way easier than hitting something that's running and dodging.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I'm an archer or anything, but I would imagine that I played enough Hanzo to know.
Trying to shoot Tracer when she's zigzagging around is nigh impossible when you're Hanzo. So
it's Hanzo, the third dot from the top, right? Just aiming down a little bit here. But so we're talking Jon Snow. So why don't we just dig into that storyline and just kind of go with it? Yeah, just the whole Jon Snow.
He's a zombie.
Can I just say one thing real quick, Rickon? I wish they would have done something way cooler with him. Like he went away and like everybody forgot about him, and then like he comes back in the 7th season, a little older. He's learned how to fight. The wildlings have taught him. Like he contributes something, and you did.
I wish that would have been nice.
Wild card.
I wish he got an episode like the Hound got this season, you know, like where it's like
just like
the "Where are they now" episode. You're like, oh shit, he's alive, he's doing this. It was like, oh shit, he's alive too. Like if they even put that in the same episode, that would have been cool. So you already get invested. Like, oh shit, he's gone through some turmoil. This kid's, maybe he's grown up a little bit. He's learned a few things, but we didn't get that. We just got like an end cap for an episode where it's like, here's the boy. And like, okay, credits.
Okay. All right. So actually, before we get into Jon Snow, why don't we talk about another storyline that's kind of similar to that, which was
God. Why don't we talk about what, Chan? Because you cut out again.
What? Oh, okay. Actually,
boost here. Go to Discord and boot. Turn down the thing all the way down. The thing that like.
I gotta turn the light on in my room, but I'm in my boxers. I don't want everybody to see. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Here, let me hold on. Let me just,
you can show your boxers. Oh my god!
I don't want to be in my. I don't want to see people see my penis outline. You know, like when you were just wearing boxers, you can see full penis, like right. No.
Are you wearing? Are you wearing boxer briefs?
No, not boxer briefs, but you can see like my penis, you can definitely see it. Like you can see the outline of my hanging penis.
Right now, I can see the top of your headset. Move your camera.
Okay, I'm coming back, man. I'm back.
Oh my goodness.
This is good Game of Thrones content.
All right, let's talk.
I'm talking about penises, and it's Game of Thrones. Okay.
Well, we did see some. We do see some penis sometimes, man, guys. Especially this season.
I'm pretty sure that was from fan backlash because the first 4 seasons, it was nothing but tits and ass from girls. And maybe some man ass, a little bit of man ass. And people are actually upset. Like, why are there no penises? Like, what the hell?
Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm pretty sure they all wanted to see specific penises, specific characters' penises.
Oh, of course. You're never gonna see the tits you want to see. Anyways,
let's talk Hodor. Let's talk Hodor.
Oh,
right. You want to talk Hodor? Then we're going to talk Jon Snow.
No. If we're going to talk about storylines that just disappear for seasons and then all of a sudden just come back.
Hold the door a second. You want to talk about?
Oh my god.
You want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, let's talk about Hodor.
This is another moment, right? That's supposed to be impactful. It's supposed to be this really. A very touching moment actually for the entire series, since Hodor was always this beloved character, right? And literally, he comes back for 10 minutes, 15 minutes in an episode. Maybe here and there for like a minute or two this season. And we're supposed to feel that. It's just
I felt it because he's been a big part of the show for a while. He was in, I think in season 4. There was a lot of Hodor in that season.
So it was but there was nothing last season. There was literally nothing with him last season.
There was not a whole lot last season. Yeah. It was mostly them walking around. But still, like he's like a good character that people love, despite it's because he's this noble, giant, friendly man with they can only say one word.
Huge
I don't know.
Huge guy.
Huge dick.
You're talking about his dick.
I'm combining the conversation from before with the conversation now. We all know.
Imagine if they showed him nude. Oh man.
Yeah.
That would,
I feel like if they like gave Hodor like more screen time, it would have been obvious that something was going to happen to him. Like that's why I thought that twist
Really?
worked because
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
exactly. No, because that's like
the-
that's what people expect from Game of Thrones. Like if you give a character a lot of screen time and they're they magically show up at the beginning of a season and they get a lot of screen time, usually they die. Usually they fucking die. And Hodor showed up and he's been like sprinkled in throughout the series here and there. We know who he is, we know what he's about, but we don't get his backstory until this season, and then it's like, oh wait, then it starts to get a little bit clearer. And then boom, like that. I thought it worked. I went to film school. I know how to write story arcs for characters and stuff, and I feel like they did a perfect job with that.
Oh, my name's Diction.
So in your film, in your film school, would you have come up with the storyline of how he came up with his name? Would you have thought of that?
No. He didn't come up with his name.
Oh, I know, but he didn't come up with
George R. Martin.
Yeah, George R. Martin's what I'm saying.
Chanmanv's saying "fuck you."
Yeah,
Diction.
exactly.
You're not as good as George R. R. Martin.
I'm not saying I am. I never said that.
I heard it, and everyone else here heard
it. What the fuck?
No, it's funny because like Hodor is everybody loves the gentle giant characters, right?
Yeah,
the less that a gentle giant character says, the more they love him. Like look at Groot, like you stick to one word gentle giant characters and people just fall in love with them. That's all there is to it. So you make a sympathetic figure, and then the thing you have to do with it is you have to destroy it. You have to, because it triggers an emotional response. Yeah. So like, Hodor, like you said, disappears for a whole season and everything, but that's okay for me because he didn't do anything. He was sitting there with the seer. He's not active. He's just kind of chilling. There wasn't, what really to show, is really happening there.
It was more for me. It was more of a testament. Just that whole storyline, I think, was neglected in season 5. And if it wasn't neglected as so much in season 5, I think it would have had much, or at least for me, it would have been much more of an impact. Because I was like, oh, that finding out about his backstory, that was really amazing. And we finally start to see the Bran Stark storyline and how it worked out. But it just happened so quickly. Like I would have felt even better if it was like episode 7 or episode 8, just a lot later in the season 2. But it was just, I don't know, it just didn't quite do it for me. It was really, really close, but didn't quite do it for me.
It's funny because I had the exact opposite reaction. I was watching it with Cora, my fiance, and I looked over at her and I said, I literally told her, like, we are seeing a moment in pop culture that we are going to remember and people are going to remember. You're going to be able to iconically say, hold the door whenever now. And people are going to freak out about it. Like it was a powerful moment in TV. Like it really was. Like I think that it was probably one of the greater moments in TV that we've had in a long time. Like just such a buildup. But here's what's the most interesting thing about that. Isn't even like Hodor. Like he's a great character. He's cool, whatever. It's the implications of what happened that sort of freak me out and start to blow my mind, because I don't like time travel ever. Like I just hate time travel. Like as a rule, I just think it's lazy. But this isn't necessarily time travel. It's going into the past and looking. But here's the thing is that Bran has an impact on the present because of his dabbling in the past. But it's not like he can go back and change things. Yeah. It's like things are already on the path that they were, with him tampering included. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like Hodor, his entire character is because of Bran. Like Bran did that to him, going back into him and stuff like that, showing him that picture of the future and everything, and causing him to have those, to have the speech impediment and be worried about his death and all that stuff. Now, what else has Bran tampered with that we don't know about? And that implication gets really far reaching, and you start to see like when Ned Stark's going up into the tower to go save his,
he
his
feels
sister
his presence.
Yeah,
he
Like,
feels his
back
presence
feels
there, and he
presence,
pauses. You know, like
Mhm.
like what else? And we also saw, and this is something else I want to talk about in a second. You know, how that didn't go down exactly chivalrously. You know, I guess chivalry isn't the word, but anyways,
chivalrous.
we saw that he does have an impact. So my thinking is that basically the Stark family has somebody that's been working on their side and been working for them since before we even started watching, which was Bran, and we didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy? Like to think about that. Like and that gets really interesting, but it's not so much time travel, so I'm okay with it. It's this like continual timeline that's already affected. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Because time travel, it's like you're going back. It's like you think like Back to the Future. Like, oh no, my picture's disappearing. I've changed the future, but he has changed it, but it's still the present. So now I'm starting to think like, what else? You know, and that can go into all sorts of different things. And we already saw that, Ned Stark, who's always honorable and everything. Howland Reed, the Craggleman, you know, that helped him defeat the Shining. I think is the Shining. Arthur Dwayne, I think his name is. In that battle, they basically sneak up behind him and shivs him in the neck. Like it's a dishonorable thing. How many more dishonorable things have the Stark family been a part of? It seems like Robert Baratheon's rebellion is starting to turn into they like are the bad guys. You know, like Rhaegar loved Lyanna or whatever. The kid, they're in love. She's keeping the baby from Robert. It's like everyone we thought was good is actually sort of bad. It's starting. I think that's the big twist. Is that the implications of this is that like maybe we all thought the Starks were great and they were awesome and the Lannisters suck and they're incestual and all that stuff, but we don't know. We don't know. It's starting to look like if I were to pick a side, I'd be like, man, Robert Baratheon didn't get the clue. He's after this girl that doesn't love him. Ned Stark's his best friend and knows it. And now we're here. So when I think about Hodor, I think about like my mind expands in all these different places. But I've been rambling, so I'll let somebody else talk.
Yeah, Diction, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely that crossed my mind while I was watching it. That he has his mind travel, not so much time travel, the stream of consciousness that goes back has like a Doppler effect. Like there's just like it radiates some sort of energy that affects the past, but that was always there to say. Basically, like he was always destined to be this person, to do what he did inside the tree and to go back in time and see these visions and stuff. Like, so that was always in place. The timeline has never changed. And so now we get to theorize and pontificate on exactly like what is he going to do next season? Is he going to go back and like is he, what else, like Ella said, like what else has he affected that we don't even know about yet?
And that's the thing about Bran too. It's just like this is the way he is able to to make a mark, like you just in anything that's going on, right? I mean, the guy's crippled, so like really what is he gonna do whenever it comes time to just the giant war that's incoming, like we all know.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, okay. Answer it.
I have a theory. I'm throwing this out there
now. This is where we theory craft now.
This is where we theory. We're not. Sorry. We're gonna go some places here. He's gonna ride one of the dragons.
You mean he's going to work?
He's going to be one of the riders of the dragon, because they always. What do they always tell him? What's the third eye always telling him? You will never walk again, but you'll fly. You'll fly is what he keeps telling him. You'll never walk again, but you'll fly.
Okay.
And you always think it's kind of the Raven, like,
right,
oh, I'm gonna fly, but like I think it's more literal. I think he was hinting. I think he was foreshadowing, saying, hey, you're gonna be one of the people on the dragon. Which would make sense for me, for Bran.
It'd be a lot easier for him to get around.
Yeah. They're much faster than Raven.
No more getting drug around on a toboggan through the snow, like for this kid.
Yeah, I don't know. Theories are theories, whatever. But I always since they started telling him you're gonna fly, you never walk but you'll fly, that kind of thing. It's kind of stuck with me. I've been thinking about the riders of the dragons, like who's going to ride these dragons. Obviously, Daenerys has got the main dragon. I was thinking maybe Tyrion, but Tyrion's like is the advisor now, right?
On a dragon. Oh man,
but think about that would be everything he deserves.
Awesome.
Like, Wouldn't it be great? It's like such justice.
The ultimate fuck you to his dad, right?
I know.
Yeah. Wouldn't it? I mean, wouldn't that just? But I was thinking, okay, he's kind of like hand of the king now to Daenerys, which is a huge honor, and that thing was bestowed to him based on merit, not on position or his name or anything like that. In fact, she has every reason not to.
Like,
yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Dragon Riders? What do you guys think about that?
Dragon Riders.
Do you guys have any theories? Yeah, like who's actually going to be?
Well, I thought Grey Worm would probably ride one of them. I mean, I thought that makes sense, right? I didn't actually think about who would be riding them once the big battle happens, because so far nobody has.
Because Jon's got Targaryen blood in him.
Oh, true. Jon.
You know, like, and they always say that like the
now.
Targaryens have to. That's my only thing for Bran that I don't like is that he doesn't have Targaryen blood. But like,
what a little shit! How dare you?
I don't know. Yeah, somebody in chat says, "Is Bran the Lord of Light?" You know, it's like, who knows? Like
he could be. He really could be. At this point.
What if Bran was using the flames to speak with people as he went back? You know, like that kind of thing. It's
true.
Yeah, kind of makes you wonder what the previous or the original Three-Eyed Raven when the season started, what he's done in the past too, right? Because I don't know, like when he was training Bran, he made it a point not that he shouldn't be affecting anything in the past, right? It just made it clear to Bran that he shouldn't be doing anything, and it's all about just watching. But it's like everybody's got to do a little bit of something, so you got to wonder what he's done in the past too. And I don't actually know the backstory of him. Like, do you guys know anything about the backstory of the original one?
No, not much. I mean, I think at once upon a time I looked up a Wikipedia thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's pretty much I think he's been there since the beginning with the ancient ones, like the kids, like the woodland creatures. I forget what they call them right now. I know he's been around that far, but I think you're right? Because what we call experience is really just our mistakes, right? So he in order to impart that experience to or that wisdom to Bran, he must have done some dabbling.
Yeah, of course.
So
right.
Yeah, and that's another question. Like, what has he gotten to? But that the implication, and that's the thing, is they can do anything now. They can do anything with that. They basically have a way, I mean, besides magic, to kind of fill any plot hole.
That's how they always do it, man. These writers, it's just like use magic as a way to, fix a lot of things or make miracles happen for the most part.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about Jon Snow a second, because I want to talk about him earlier.
The season started with him, right? Obviously being, at least his body being just lying in the snow after last year's finale. Actually, last season's finale was pretty good too. Given the fact that he got stabbed, he got killed, right?
It was good, but it was like we talked earlier, that classic cliffhanger.
Yeah. What was crazy is it was just like it was a pretty. It's kind of a badly kept secret, but at the same time, everybody was speculating on it, and everybody expected him to come back. I think all the Game of Thrones fanatics, but at the same time, the actors of the series, they didn't know about it because they went at lengths to really hide the fact. They gave him a goodbye party, and they did all these things, right? So literally, everybody on the cast believed that Jon Snow was just done.
That's so fucked up. They're like secretly telling his agent, like, don't book him any gigs. Don't book him any gigs. He's like, but don't tell him. Don't tell him to say. They almost like ruined his career. Like in his mind, they're just like, don't tell him that he has any offers for any job. So he's sitting there like, well, I'm off Game of Thrones and no offers are coming in. Is my career over? And then like 6 months later, like, by the way, you're coming back.
We gotta get a guest on the show sometime, like an actress, where they can like talk about that, because I wonder what the extent is really about like the secrets that are kept from the cast and how that affects their job in their real life.
Do you mean cast like anyone who's an actor, or people specifically from Game of Thrones? Because I know
not just specifically from Game of Thrones, just any actor that's been in a show where their character has been like scheduled to die and how that handles.
Okay, I'll hit up Rick Malambry and see if he's ever had a role that he got killed off from.
Okay, anyways, that's just a side thing.
Anyways, back to the actual storyline with Jon Snow. Yeah, so he's obviously dead, and just the season is starting off, and his body's just in the snow, and Sir Davos obviously picking him up, and Sir Davos seemed to be very confident that they could bring him back to life, and anybody else, I think, that would see somebody dead like that, it would just be, you know, just mourning, or you know, you think they get into the conflict or whatever conflict or run away or whatever, right? At that point, fear for your lives. But he seemed to be very confident about just obviously like, preserving his body and then getting Melisandre, right? I mean, like, who would think that to, you know, just immediately think that?
Well, now this man did see a dark demon come out of her vagina
Did he?
and kill
Okay, all right.
and kill
That's
a you know, a runner-up for the crown. You know, like he did witness this dark magic spawn from her vagina. So I don't think it would be so crazy as a last-ditch effort, a 0.001% chance. Hey, what can you do? You know, that's basically what he did, was just like try like she's like, I don't know how to bring someone back from the dead, like I don't know how to do that. But there's mentions of it.
Yeah, true.
There's mentions of it though, right? Like Dondarrion, I think his name is, that the Brotherhood Without Banners, I believe it is. The Brotherhood Without Banners is led by Dondarrion, who went to go stop the mountain. That was his job. When you remember at the very beginning when the mountain was pillaging and raping and all that stuff, Ned Stark was hand at the time, and he decreed that Dondarrion should go and stop the mountain. So Dondarrion tried, and he was killed. And then he was brought back by the guy, Mir. He wields the flaming mace, something of Mir, Thanos, Amir, I forget his name. He brings him back. So this has happened in the universe before, even in the show. Now in the books, there's another character who comes back kind of in a similar way, but that's never really that hasn't been touched on yet. So I'm gonna kind of stay away from it. But you know what? Fuck it. It's Lady Stone. It's Lady Stone. It's a spoiler alert. What am I doing? I'm still not used to it.
Why didn't you warn me?
Spoilers. Why didn't you warn me?
You know,
but this has come up before. Now, but this is the first time we've seen it. And but see, Melisandre didn't think that she could. I would like to see how Dondarrion was brought back. Like, you know, like that. Like, I wonder if it's the same process. If he was like, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. Like, what? There's so much mystery that comes with that. And then Melisandre herself being a fucking hag.
Oh my god!
Like that's still
like
it's
out,
like,
man. That freaked me out.
Man,
they're definitely
like what is it? You know, I don't know. There's
Game of Thrones is not ageist anymore, at least with the nudity now. we can't say they're ageist at all. But
like, was she just old, or was she like a witch? Like she looked like a demon or something to me. Like,
I don't know.
She's something. She doesn't look completely human. She looks a little weird. That's for sure. Like a different race. Like a different race. Yeah.
Like
I don't know what it
gnome.
is. You got a deep gnome.
She's a deep gnome. Using illusion spells, which they're known for.
Yeah. That's true. That's one awesome necklace.
Man, what if she just lined up all the dudes that she's fucked and then just like took off her necklace in front of them?
Oh my god.
And it's like the scene from the Innovation Cura, and they're just all just throwing up.
So somebody in the chat, Crashapub, pulls up a decent point. Dondarrion was brought back by Thoros when his faith was at his lowest. Same with Melisandre. And I never made that connection.
Okay.
I wonder what kind of implications that has, but I don't know. But it's still fairly interesting that like in this desperation time where they're just like at their worst, that's when they do the most miraculous thing. Like so there's that I hope gets explained. I hope this gets explained, like Melisandre and in its entirety gets explained, because I would be so pissed if they don't really delve deep into that and they don't really explain it, because it's such a weird thing.
What do you guys think about her just being so wrong all this time? You know, because you know the one thing that she's always said with her visions and everything, it was very clear, right? That Stannis was the chosen, you know, prince or whatever to be next in line of the throne, and everything that she's done up to this point has really, you know, displayed that, at least in the first 5 seasons, up until, you know, literally Stannis loses that battle at Winterfell. So, you know, I guess, what do you guys think about it? Is that, I guess, what the Lore of Light wants her to happen, and she's like destined for, you know, this type of thing? But she's a little bit lost right now, right? She's been a bit complacent at times, just kind of, you know, just staring off at times. And obviously Jon Snow's given her some direction, but it's still not the same devotion that she had to Stannis.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Do you think that, well, here's what I think affected it. Here's why I think Melisandre messed up. That it's not entirely her fault. because she was seeing the heir to the throne as being a Stannis, right? Mm-hmm. But in actuality, in if we look back, it's actually Jon Snow.
Yep.
So now she's with Jon Snow, and now she's banished from Jon Snow. But if she, now that was a secret, that's a well-kept secret. There's no way she could have known that. But had she known that, would she have gone to Jon Snow first and not fucked with Stannis? Because in her mind, she went to the person that fit that description the best, to her knowledge, which was the person who's supposed to take over. He's the prince, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And so she went to Stannis. But in actuality, it's actually Jon Snow. So if she would have known that, you think she would have gone to Jon Snow first?
What's
now, and also,
it's like the visions, though. You know, we never actually got a vision, I guess, of Stannis, or actually saw one of her visions. But you'd think, like, in the vision, you would actually see the face of who that person is supposed to be, you know?
Well, that's, she always says, she says it multiple times, though. Yeah, like, I can see the vision in the flames. How I interpret it, I'm still human. Like, that said a lot. She says that all the time. Like, she says it a lot. Like, I can only see the visions in the flame. I interpret them best I can, but I make mistakes. She says that, like, every time she makes a mistake,
like,
you know,
that's like murdering that young girl for like no reason,
which I think is the most horrific thing that's happened in Game of Thrones. I like
that is
the Red Wedding. I mean, the Red Wedding's bad, but like
there was baby killing in the Red Wedding. That's true.
There was baby killing, but there wasn't screaming, "Mommy, mommy, help me, mommy, help me," while burning alive. You know, like that.
It was a lot more visceral and like in your face. And
well, it's a character that was
not cool, man. That wasn't cool.
It was a character that was endearing too, right? I mean, we all love the princess was a character that we were just hoping would be able to survive all this crazy.
I want to see her grow up and get like a boyfriend and shit, you know, even with her rock face.
He's
like,
well, here's another thing. She survived grayscale. Like, is it ever mentioned how she survived that? Yeah. Like, it gives hope to Davis, or not Davis, but Sir Jorah, right?
Yeah,
Sir Jorah's supposed to go out and figure out a cure. I mean, she beat it. I forget how she beat it, though, or how that came about. She was smart and disfigured.
Luke, like, no one understood why why it didn't like take over her whole body. I think she just like had an immunity to it or something.
But she was a character.
I could be wrong.
She was a character that made Stannis like a good guy, you know, like it really brought out that human emotional side of Stannis. And, you know, one of the reasons that she didn't, you know, they didn't just get rid of her because of the stone skin is just because Stannis loved her as a daughter, right? I mean, he had that one moment where he says, you know, you'll always be my daughter, or, you know, you're my daughter or whatnot, right? And he basically saved her, protected her, you know, didn't do basically what everybody else does whenever people get that disease. So it was really, I mean, it was a pretty powerful moment actually when he chooses to do that. That just means he's fully on the dark side. You know, he's just gone down this path of no return. And you know, it obviously being tragic was very, you know, fitting. I think that was definitely a very good line for the plot. But yeah, it was really sad to see her die for no reason. You know, it's all these things that just happen for no reason, which is
well, here's the thing: is like, is it no reason? Is it no reason? Because somebody in chat just pointed out there's a lot of really good stuff in the chat right now. I really like this. And I think as a first show that we should take into account of like course. All the information coming out of here and find a better way, because you guys are awesome. Somebody just said in the chat like killing the princess girl, was Shirlene or something like that. Killing her gave Melisandre the power to resurrect Jon Snow.
Oh,
think about that.
Really?
Like that that maybe it's a checks and balances thing. You murdered this little girl, the pride of her life, and now you're able to resurrect Jon Snow. I can see some sort of connection there, you know, maybe loosely, but I think it's a good point. You know, I think it's worth mentioning.
And
it could be right that sacrifice ultimately was needed to bring back Jon Snow, so that the, you know, actions that bring everybody about, you know, actually happen. But you know, who knows? And that's the thing. Does the Lord of Light know that she's going to make mistakes and misinterpret these things? So maybe you know, it's like, what's the design? You know, we could speculate on that forever. Well, can I ask you guys another question?
Yeah.
Unless you guys have something to say about this.
No, I think we spent a lot of time on this. That's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Okay. I see a pattern, and I want to know your opinion. and I'm going to go especially Diction. I want to know how you feel about this specifically. There's been a pattern, especially in this season, of women, powerful women, right? And not just in one or two places. It seems like that we're building up to an ultra matriarchy battle here at the end, right? So you've got the Iron Islands, you've got the sister, I forget her name right now, the Iron Islands, you got Daenerys, obviously. You've got Sansa Stark rising up in the north. Now she's not going to be king of the north, but she's
she's got the power, basically.
Cersei Lannister, the Sand Snakes, all the women of the Sand Snakes. Like Arya, there's so many Arya. There's so many powerful women that are starting to take over, like, completely. This is gonna be just like one big giant fight between these women, right? And whose side goes on, why do you think that is a theme that they did on purpose? And if so, why?
I mean, obviously everything they write is on purpose, but
the Mormon girl too. Yeah. The Mormon girl too.
Well, I mean, like, it seems like it started like the story started with an entire world, like all of Westeros basically being run by dudes and very, very poorly. Like the whole place is in shambles. And it seems like the longer arc of the story of all these stories seems to be that like these men are like fucking the heir to the throne of the Iron Islands gets fucking his penis cut off. Like he gets completely emasculated. Like I feel like there was a lot more symbolic nature to his story than like is on the surface there. Like he gets his dick cut off. He no longer has the confidence to be a warrior, to be a soldier, to do anything to take the throne. He like immediately is like, you should be like to his sister, you should be the queen. You should rule this land, Like
no question
exactly. No question. He knows it. And so it seems like there's a big turn. I agree. There's a big turning point where female characters are taking the reins and they're becoming these more. They're gaining more power and traction than the men have.
And they're joining fragile forces too. I mean, I wonder if some of these alliances are being made too because they're all female and they've been in the same the same position. The whole Tyrell and just that whole alliance at the end too, right? That we're seeing with Daenerys. Like everybody is joining in Daenerys, and they're all led by females too. So it's a good point actually, Elo. That
do you think they're doing that as a commentary of the world? Do you think that?
I think they are. That's my opinion is they are. And females being in a place of power, or at least like in terms of plot lines and things like that. We've started to see in gaming, but still for the most part, that trope, right, isn't a very popular trope. And I think having Game of Thrones being such a huge platform, and going to the extent that they're going, that really makes an impact in terms of just the creative world, just the creative industry, and Hollywood and everything. So I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's a really good thing. I don't want them to. I still want them to be true to just what the story should play out. What fits best. So hopefully the next 2 seasons will still not be specifically not have that agenda. And still play out with I'd like to see the guy. I would like to see Jon Snow still being basically one of the most powerful people in whatever happens at the end, because there's not very many guys left. I mean, how many guys? Let's just count them. Like Jon Snow, Tyrion. I mean, I'm talking about people that potentially have any influence on what happens at the end. I mean, who else? Bran. Yeah, Bran. Yeah, true.
Yeah, Bran. Peter Baelish.
Yeah, Baelish I think is going to get thrown to the wayside. At some point.
Here's not a good example of maybe a man, but Varys.
See, that's the thing about Varys. Everybody, the speculation on the internet is just that Varys has been playing the best game, right? Yeah, sorry. Varys has been playing the best game so far, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he wins the Game of Thrones.
He does win the Game of Thrones. That chess match. Yeah,
he's the guy in Monopoly that has all the boardwalks and shit.
But in the end,
is
Varys going to be, that ruler, that king, or that person that's going to be there? No, he's always going to be that advisor. He's going to be that guy, right-hand man type of guy.
I don't think that that's his aspiration either. Like I think that's the aspiration for Peter Baelish, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's only a handful of people that even want to be king, right? You're right. You're right. There is like a very small amount of men that are still like, yeah, me. You've got except for Euron, Euron, I think his name is. I always forget how to pronounce it. He's the guy who takes over the Iron Islands. He comes in, he's the brother,
uncle,
the uncle. You know, there is still him. But a lot of these guys who would have taken over the throne are fucking dead or got killed off. You know, the Sand Snake people, the Martells. I mean, it would have been the dude who got stabbed by the women. He was the leader there, and then Oberyn got killed by the Mountain. You know, in the duel. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I've just been spinning this in my head about women coming to power and how many women. And there's even more if I took the time to mention them. But there was what I gave like 5 or 6 examples. Like I wonder what you know. What was the point? Was that George R.R. Martin, or was that the show writers and producers? Like, what? It just kind of boggles my mind. Like, why is that a theme? Because it's not normally a theme in something like this, and I don't know why it would be, but it is. It is a theme. So, I'm curious as to, maybe somebody in the chat can enlighten us. But I'm just curious as to what, I don't know what it's all about. You know, for all the women taking over and taking power and stuff. Like, men are fucking dumb.
I mean, I think
men are dumb.
Well, I think stupid. They just think with their penises.
They just want to fuck things, and they just ruin everything, and they're drunker.
That's how the series started, guys. So I mean, I think it's just more balance. It's more balance, you know. And you already mentioned it already, Elo. It's just like the Game of Thrones started being a very misogynistic type of world, and now it's just balance. And I think overall, when we look back on Game of Thrones, it'll be a very good balance. You know, we won't have the feminists just complaining about the series, and we won't have, you know, the opposite side obviously doing the same thing. So yeah, that's a good piece of work.
There's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just interesting. It's intriguing.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Out of all the themes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just one of those things where I think in the end, Game of Thrones will please as large of a mass as possible. Where Game of Thrones originally, the way it was, you know, like a lot of the seasons played out, I probably wouldn't say the same thing. Like, I think it was very, you know, there was definitely some faction of people that don't like Game of Thrones for whatever reason. But when we're done with it, I think everybody will love this series. I mean, this series will be, you know, just be remembered forever, you know, as just a great piece of work or a great piece of art. And it's going to be because of just how these storylines have played out in terms of society, you know, and just how things are portrayed and things like that.
Chanmanv, do you love Cersei now?
Cersei?
Did you hate her before and love her now?
Okay, so Cersei. Okay, so no question, I hated her before. Now, I mean, of course, killing the Hive, just the last episode. I definitely had some endearment towards Cersei at the end. I have to admit. I mean,
I still don't like her. But I have empathy for her because her fucking, like, even though she's a terrible monster woman, she has had, like, all of her children are dead. All of her fucking kids are dead.
I'm
like,
glad
she's
that
had
Tommen
all of her
dead,
kids taken away from her. So I feel a little bit of sympathy and empathy for her on that, you know? And but then the shit with the High Sparrow, she fucking that's her fault. Like, she contacted him. She basically gave that dude power. So, like, whatever happened to her was her fault. But it was also that opening sequence in the last episode was just beautiful. Like the music, the editing, the cinematography, like it was all just perfect.
It was probably one of my favorite scenes in a TV show ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching it unfold. I'm sitting here going, no. I'm like, wait, they still have some of those caches. Like, nah, they wouldn't blow up. Oh shit, he's running down there. Oh shit, he's doing, you know, like, and then when it clicked finally when they showed the green on the barrels, because they didn't show it at first, and the first thing they're just playing it up and they're letting you go like what, and then they show the green, and then I was like, oh my god, there's no way they're gonna allow her to do this. And then you know have you okay, we have one of those things where we can like flip to another screen and watch something, right? We can do that.
Okay, sure.
You want to try that out?
Okay. All right. What is
Okay,
this?
look up the Overwatch.
Yeah,
yeah, look up. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Send me the link.
We
Send me
can
the
show
link.
that on
Okay,
here.
let me find it.
You guys,
yeah,
those of you who are Overwatch fans will appreciate
No,
this
it's
very
awesome.
much.
It's on the Facebook page.
I have
it's
died
so good.
laughing
It
so
is
many
so
times.
good. Let me find it.
But no, like Cersei is one of those characters. It's just like Jaime Lannister. All these characters that you started out hating, you're starting to love.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the weirdest thing in my head. I'm trying to decide like what in our humanity makes us go, yay, Cersei, for blowing up an entire. Are we ready?
Wait, actually, this isn't the original one. I'm gonna make sure you give credit to the original one.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Please, yeah. Absolutely.
Is the original?
But
like
anyways, my thought was that like we've hated her and we've loved the actress. The actress, I forget her name right now.
Lena Headey.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
She is amazing, and so it's hard to hate her because she's such an amazing actress. But what do we do? See the first.
I screwed up.
This is the first episode, buddy. First episode.
I wasn't ready.
It's okay.
Yeah, my bad.
It's okay. No, it's just it blows my mind that when she does the most horrific thing she's ever done, like finally did something of that magnitude, that finally yeah, is this it?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're no.
The
list of names just going.
Yeah,
dude, that is the best, dude.
Play of the game.
Play of the game.
God, man.
Yeah, that was so good. That was definitely so good. And
so why is it that when she does this horrific, terrible thing, that suddenly people who didn't like her like her?
Because everybody hates the High Sparrow and just the whole, just all that whole storyline. I think everybody was starting to hate and for it to get old because. You're stripping away. They basically stripped away all power from the faction that was the evil. They were the bad guys, right? Cersei was
they were the bad guys just taken over by even badder guys.
But Marjorie wasn't.
See, Marjorie dying actually surprised me. That surprised me. Marjorie dying because it seemed like there was, she was playing a game too, and I wanted to see how that played out, but that just whatever she was planning, that just went all for naught, right? So that was kind of strange. I
loose
felt like,
plot thread.
Yeah, that was definitely
never get a resolution for that.
I like that though because sometimes that's life.
It's fine.
Sometimes you have plans and then suddenly you get blown up. Like it's like not everything needs a neat and tight continuous plot line. Like sometimes shit happens and but it again, I just go back to that question, like, what is it about that scene that makes us love Cersei? Because in essence, she killed the High Sparrow. Maybe it's just some people, like the disassociation with religion and stuff, like people, especially militant religion, especially in America, because militant religion is usually always attributed to, Muslim or something like that, like at least in America, not that it's right or wrong, but it is presented that way. So is it because we have kind of this feeling towards that, like, fuck religion, fuck militant religion, or is it because like Cersei is so true to her character? Like, this is the reason I think people like her, because finally people go, you're not the selfish bitch we all thought you were. Yeah, you really and truly do whatever you think will save your children. You are the alpha mother, like you are you will do whatever it takes. And because she stayed so true to that, I think that's why people started to like her. But it's an interesting flip that she does the most evil shit she's ever done, and then everyone likes her. It's weird.
That's a really good point, and I think you do have something there. For me, I think it's even just simpler than that. There's just a lot of characters that people hated, and as a result of except for Marjorie, I would say exception of Marjorie, I think everybody that died in that, including Tommen too. Dude, I was so happy when that dude jumped out of the window.
Wow.
I it's hard for me to like explain, but like for me, Tommen was the most pointless character. Well, not
he's
pointless,
kind of a pissant.
He's like the biggest puppet and the weakest character in like the entire show.
Even after the High Sparrow and all of them were gone, he would have still been a terrible king.
Yeah.
So just listen to his mom the entire time, like, you know.
I don't know. I mean, he's super young. Give the kid a fucking break. And then on top, I love King Tom.
I'd be a better king at his age. Fuck him.
No. You like that guy? Gosh,
listen. I'm not saying that I like King Tommen. What I'm saying is that I can look at King Tommen and go, you're a 14-year-old, maybe. I don't even know how old he is, in a world dominated by superpowers that just want to take over. He's so incredibly fucking outmatched mentally, experience-wise. I mean, he's just basically a pawn at that point. Like, how can we really get mad at Tommen for doing anything? He's amongst superpowers.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
He's like a 14-year-old king. Like, I don't know what to do.
Well, that's the thing.
Can we really say that he's the problem?
It's not that he's the problem. It's just, for me, he should be the most powerful person. I mean, he's the king, for Christ's sakes, right? He's 14 years old, sure, I guess, but
he's like 8 in the books.
Oh, he's 8 in the books. Okay, I didn't actually realize that, but look at Joffrey before, right? And I didn't think I could hate any of the kids as much as I hated Joffrey. But Tommen was actually getting up there for me because he just...
You hated Tommen more than Joffrey? No. You forget, sir. You forget what you lose yourself in this conversation.
I'm just talking about in terms of just impact on the story. I mean, at least Joffrey was an evil character. Yeah, he was absolutely evil.
At least Joffrey knew who he was and knew what he was doing. Yeah, he had a conscience, Like he was a fucking piece of shit, but at least he was aware of how much of a piece of shit he was, and that's what he was. Tom was like, just like going through puberty, just like, I don't know, I guess so, yeah, sure, let's do that thing. Sure, put that, yeah, okay, we'll do this edict and that edict. If you think it's a good idea, sure, okay, all right.
That's exactly.
Where's my wife? Can I get my wife back, please?
Exactly.
We had sex at one time. I was hoping to have sex with her at least one more time. That would be really nice to put my penis inside of her.
They made my mom walk naked across the city. I
can't do anything about it.
You guys are getting onto Tommen, but let me throw there. Tommen, and this is how I felt about Tommen. This does not make it right. It's just my opinion. I felt like Tommen was trying to find himself as king and was learning as he went. And I thought he was learning very well. And in fact, you guys are saying he's kind of like a yes man. He actually says no to a lot of people, including his mother. Like he does definitely rebel, and he does make his own decisions, and to the detriment of whatever plans whoever has. But he does make his own shit occasionally. But he's learning. He's only king for like what, a year or something? I don't even know the timeline. But it's not very long.
But he makes his own shit. I mean, it's one thing when there's not somebody trying to manipulate you and you make a decision. The thing with Tommen is that he's just being manipulated by two separate parties. One being obviously just the High Sparrow, and then and Marjorie too, and as well as Cersei. So everything that Tommen does has nothing to do with his own, his own premonitions or anything like that. It's just because somebody else is telling him to do it. And that, so him rebelling.
You told him to jump out a window. He made that decision.
That was honestly, that was the most powerful thing he's done, the entire time he's been on the show.
That was a solid decision. He made that decision.
That was a solid decision.
Here's the question. Here's the question, though. Here's the $1 million question. Why?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
Did he kill himself?
Exactly.
Diction, what's your theory? I'll throw out my theory.
I feel like he knew, one, his beautiful bride dead, who he hasn't seen outside of a fucking shit-filled cage for months.
She's still hot, dude.
She was still hot as fuck. I think the major thing was that he realized he will, as long as his mother is still there and still has this power over him, he will never be a king. He'll never be a king that he like you said, he has aspirations. He was growing into himself, but I think that was the moment where he realized that his mother has complete control over his destiny, and he has no there's no way that he can actually blossom into the person that he might want to be or thinks he might want to be.
He realizes the puppet he is, right? Essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even though he's he's trying to snip those strings off, it doesn't matter. They're metaphorical strings, and he's always going to be under the thumb of his mother.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true, because she's going to get old and she's going to pass away, with old age before he does, especially in their time. It's not like they
but like
I mean,
what
I guess
kid
some people
wants to
do
wait
live to be
until they're
like 80.
30 so like you finally like, all right, I'm 30, my mom's dead, I can finally be a man. Like that sucks. That's a terrible destiny.
I'm kind of in line with you. But I have a different, like a little bit of a different approach, because there's so many different reasons he could have killed himself. Could have killed himself over the grief, like you said, the grief of losing his wife and, you know, some other people that he cares about. It could have been that he just simply was like, fuck being the king, I'm out, takes his crown off, sets it down. Like, I just the responsibility of being king is too much for me. I'm killing myself.
Also, that could have been part of it too. Yeah,
that could have been part of it. But here's what I think is, I think that when he was looking out and he saw that place explode, that he felt exactly like you said he felt, Nick. Like, he felt that his mother was in control, and, you know, his mother did this, and he was just fucking going through his head. And here's what I think he thought. If he thought, how can I beat my mom?
Yeah.
How can I beat my mom? And the only thing that she cares about is him. So it's not even necessarily like she'll always be in control. It's not even necessarily a grief thing. It's I'm, you know, it's not I'm the king thing. Maybe a combination of all these things. But the biggest thing is that this is a teenager rebelling in the only way that he knows his mother will respond. Like, if I kill myself, what she did is all for naught. Like this makes it meaningless for her, and this is how I get back at her for what she's done.
Yeah, I think
that's how I felt about it.
So if that is the reason, then you know, that's even more of a. I think that just reflects badly upon him again, because what he doesn't realize is that she already knows. I mean, it's already been prophesized that all of her children would, you know, be dead eventually, just at an early age too. So I think she's already been preparing for herself. In the end, she wants to be queen, you know, of King's Landing, and that's what she essentially accomplished by having him kill himself. But I do think you're right in a lot of ways, that it's probably what he was thinking. I also think that, you know, he might have, just the High Sparrow, right, just had a lot of influence on him, and, you know, maybe even changed the way he was thinking about things, and it did override, you know, just the advice and everything his mother had getting him up to that point, right? That's kind of when he started to rebel, is when that started happening. Obviously Marjorie was in it too, like with the High Sparrow, you know, whether she was, you know, faking it or not, but, you know, she was controlling him too in that sense. So what he believed in, just all just with everything he believed in, basically blew up in that building, right, with a wildfire. So that, with, like, again, with just trying to get it back at his mother, I think was, I think the best thing there. But, you know, in the end, Cersei, she didn't react much to it. I mean, I think she's you know, she's probably
she just kind of looked at the body like, okay, then.
Yeah.
It was like,
put him by his sister.
I've seen a lot of dead kids that are mine. This is all right. I'm used to this. I'm numb.
So what are the ramifications of that? Do you think that she's just like gone completely stone-hearted? Do you think that she's not? How about this? Do you think that she's not upset because she knew it was coming, because of the prophecy that lady gave her, so that, you know, Tommen says, and this is again my theory, Tommen says, "Fuck you, Mom. I'm jumping off here and killing myself because I'm all you care about." He does that, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I saw this coming a mile away because everything that witch lady told me." Like, she had prepared herself.
Exactly.
She had prepared herself emotionally for that. But, you know, in the next season, we might see her unravel over it. You know, like there's still, we haven't spent a lot of time with Cersei past the revenge stage. She is in revenge mode. She does it. She sits on the throne. Then okay. Now what happens with Cersei? Now that she's done this thing, like, does she unwind? Does she, you know, what's the future?
Well, I mean, I think at least my speculation about the whole thing is that right now I feel like Cersei is just the roadblock for Daenerys before, you know, getting up to the north. So they're gonna have to figure out how that plays out. I mean, she's gonna have to build up power wise in terms of just you know, just how it's perceived, just with the show itself right now. You know, right now she just got her revenge, but we don't know what the state of the army is. Like, you know, right now it seems like Daenerys' army is 1,000,000 times bigger than her army. Just what it seems like, or it's portrayed.
Especially because she just blew up like a couple hundred of them. Like,
know, right?
there were definitely a lot of guards in there.
Yeah.
Well, and what about the relationship between Jaime and her? Jaime ruined his name and his reputation to stop King, what's his name, to stop exactly what Cersei did.
Yeah, they're yeah.
You know, like what is Jaime gonna say when he figures this out? How is he going to treat Cersei? What kind of
would be crazy
thing is what kind of rift is that going to cause them?
You know what would be crazy if he ends up killing another queen, or king, and previously. So
you know, this is
ruler. Oh man,
Cersei can only die, in my opinion, to like 2 people
of just like mad kings,
mad queens,
mad king serial killer.
Oh,
Cersei can only die to 2 people in my mind right now, and that's Jaime. For what she did blowing up, because he basically put everything he was on the line to stop that, and then she went and did it. Or Arya, because Arya is the only name that Cersei. Yeah. Cersei's the only name on the list that she was not willing to let go of during her training. Did you notice that when she says the list, she removes Cersei, and that's when I think they even asked her, like, "Is that all the names or whatever?" And she's like, "Yep, that's all of them." Or something like that, and Cersei wasn't on that list.
I thought she said Cersei.
No, I'm fairly certain she does not mention Cersei, because Cersei's like the very last one on her list, and she mentions everybody else. She's like, you know, the mountain, blah blah blah, this person. She never mentions Cersei, so she holds on to that part of her during her training, which ultimately leads to her being, banished from that. Let's talk about Arya a little bit.
Yes, Arya. That storyline is pretty interesting too, and I'm not sure I'm clear on it, to be honest with you. Just
somebody in the chat, Lapis says the prophecy literally she will be killed by her brother.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
That was the prophecy. Okay, so
I don't know.
Well, are all prophecies in Game of Thrones universe? Do they all come true, or are some of them?
I think they do, right? I mean, they might be misinterpreted, but
yeah, that's the thing. What if it's misinterpreted? I don't know how you misinterpret that.
What if it is
from brother to a little girl?
What if it's Bran? What if it's the Green Seer? He's gone back. He knows. He went forward. He saw some shit. He came back. He told her about it.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
All right, getting back to Arya though.
Arya, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I actually enjoyed her storyline there, and it was a little bit slow at times. But the thing I like about Arya is that I felt like she was never trained. You know what I mean? Like she had this list of people that she wanted to kill, but she was never. She never had the ability to do so. And I feel like this season they really developed her. They really developed her toughness, her just ability as somebody just to assassinate people, right?
Yeah.
And it really puts her in a position where she's somebody that can go and kill anybody at any time. And I think that's one thing that was needed from her, because she was just always this little kid that would get somebody else to kill people for her, and she's just kind of running away, and just she just didn't have an impact, I felt like. But now I feel like she's a killer now, and she is not apologetic about it or anything, and she's very, very focused too with that list, and it's been good to see. Actually, I actually like that.
She got an Emmy nomination too for her performance.
Yeah.
Much deserved.
I just the part I don't understand completely is, the whole point I thought was to basically get rid of her identity, right? That was just part of her training, was just to completely rid her of Arya Stark and just anything behind it. But in the end, she's Arya Stark, right? And
that's the point. That's the biggest point, right? Is she holds on to Needle. She hides Needle instead of dropping it in the water.
Yes.
Right. She didn't say Cersei. Like there's little bits of her body, of herself, that she isn't willing to let go. She's not willing to let go of the memory of Jon Snow.
I feel like she was putting herself, her identity on hold to get the training she needed so that she could go back to her mission, which was to avenge her father's death and her family's.
I don't know if that was always her thing. I think that's what it became, because she realized, I can't do this. I can't lose my identity. Like, these things are too important. I really want to kill Cersei. I really don't want to forget about Jon Snow. Like, those were the two things kind of holding her back. And I don't know if she went into it thinking, I'm going to get all the training out of this and then just back out and be done. I think that kind of happened as a development. She thought she was tough enough. She thought she could do this. A girl is no one, a girl is no one, a girl is no one. And then she's gone in her head. She's like, I've said this so many times. It's still not true.
So did Jaqen, the male no face, right? Did he know that he would, was he basically training her this whole time to become an assassin, but still be Arya Stark, or was he really trying to get her to become one of his his minions essentially, right? That really has no identity and whatnot, because he could kill her. I mean, he should be able to kill her. I would think, given that he's basically essentially the master or the teacher in this scenario, and I don't think Arya is skilled enough to even kill him. So what was his intent then the entire time for training her?
Well, he owed her.
Oh, okay.
He's purely because of
the favor.
If we look back, I mean, she saved, and so I think that whether or not she was going to succeed or fail wasn't his concern, just that he gave her the shot for saving him.
Okay.
Like he was indifferent either way, but he owed her because she did this thing for him. So she went to go get the training. Ultimately, she failed. You know, depending on your definition, she's not a faceless man. You know, she's not officially part of them, but she apparently understands everything she needs to do to become other people.
Yeah.
You know, like that didn't stop. You know, you think like when she leaves the faceless men, she would lose the ability or the resources, as it were, to turn into other people or take on the identity of other people. But as we saw in the season finale, that wasn't even true. And by the way, nobody's fucking disturbed with Arya cooking the guy's kids, and I understand that they deserve it, but it's a little fucked up to like walk up and be like, oh yeah, I already cooked your sons into your meal here, your pie, your meat pie. Look, there's a toe.
Just like throws it down. Hi, that's people.
That's people.
Yeah. It's like Soylent
like
Green,
chicken?
bitch. Like here,
taste
have
like
some,
chicken?
you know?
Yeah,
exactly. But like, I mean, it's not even that she's just getting like revenge on them. She's sort of fucking fucked up. She's fucked up.
That's what I mean. She's like,
I mean, she's been on the run like basically most of her young adult life, you know, surviving, scraping, seeing some horrid shit, experiencing some horrible shit. That does something to you, you know? Like that definitely has an effect on you. She's seen some crazy shit in the assassins, like in the guild, like with the faces and like the weird water that made her fucking go blind for a month and a half, you know, like shit like that. Like, so I don't know, like it feels like
broken her down.
You can't come out of that unscathed and be like, all right, I'm going back to murder people regularly like I wanted to.
Do you guys think that it was really shallow the way that they tried to set up her like attack scene, her death scene? Like it seems so sloppy and lazy.
Wait.
To
You
me.
mean when she gets stabbed?
When she gets stabbed, it was the. I thought that was the lamest fucking thing I've ever seen in the show. I was like, I'm sitting here watching.
That girl was terrible at being
you're being hunted. Like you know this girl's after you. I wouldn't be letting old women walk up to me. I wouldn't be letting kids walk up to me. I would be on alert from everybody.
I would go.
But not only that. Hold on. Let me finish this. So she gets found. All right. Yeah, shut the fuck up. No, she gets found, and then she gets stabbed multiple times in like it looks like to be the stomach area. Okay,
two times specifically. Two times
specifically,
and a twist.
Okay. And a twist. God, it looked fucking brutal. And then she falls into the water. First of all, salt water in those open. Second of all,
they piss in those salt waters.
I am not a medical. I am not a doctor. I'm not an EMT. I'm not anything like that. I have had training, first responder, but one thing I do feel like I know is that water is not a good way to staunch wounds. Okay. You get stabbed 2 times in the stomach, which is supposed to take a long time. That's the only thing that kind of gives us credit. If you get stabbed or shot in the stomach, it's supposed to take a long time for you to die. But it's a long and painful death, and your death is usually inevitable.
Yep.
So she falls in the water. She has enough strength to swim to shore and then like walk around until she's found. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here going like, how the fuck did she survive that? Like, it's just like, I felt like it was just like a big like, let's stab Arya Stark to get everybody all riled up. Like there was no substance to it. Like it just seemed overdone and kind of shit.
It had that, you know, I think the first sensation you see when Arya gets stabbed because of the angle is the Red Wedding, you know, like when they stab, you know, right. So that's like the sensation I had at least instantly when that happened. But yeah, like who else in Game of Thrones gets stabbed like that and lives? Like there hasn't been a single person
No one
that's survived even two.
I feel like they should have done they should have done something a little more clever instead of just the age old Game of Thrones like, oh, we're gonna stab somebody because you expect bloodshed in the show, and just like have her like react, you know, like, oh shit, I'm about to be stabbed. Maybe like she turns in the shoulder and then topples over in the water.
Right.
That I would buy that a lot more than like getting stabbed multiple times in the stomach and then crawling around in the fucking the water and the mud, and then somehow being
the actress has some magical
stuff by a fucking actress.
Listen,
in a terrible show.
Okay, I'll say now.
Man. That was
I
bad.
liked that show. I liked that show.
God, of course you did.
It was the talk of Broadway.
Anyways, here's another thing though, just kind of go along with my point. I just thought I'd mention this too. I forgot to mention this. Is like this girl that's going after her is a fucking trained assassin. What trained assassin stabs someone in the stomach, over the neck, or any other area for a kill? You know, like except there may be an argument made that she really hated Arya. She didn't like that this other young girl had time from the mentor dude, and she never seemed to like Arya ever, never came around to her. So maybe the idea was to make her bleed out and have a nice, long, painful death, because that's what she wanted for her.
Yeah, no, I think it was clear she did not fuck up, that she would, she wanted her.
But you definitely wouldn't throw her in the water then, with like a chance to get away. That's very like, I don't know, like 1980s, like.
Well, I don't think she threw her in the water.
Escapes.
I think Arya like fell in the water
jumped.
on purpose.
I thought she jumped.
Did she jump? Did she
she was getting away, like, to fall in the water.
I just felt like there's a better way to do it, and that she should be clever enough, being part of the Faceless Man, to pull it off. Like, it was just like, I'm an old lady walking in the street. Now I stab you in the stomach. Like, didn't you think about this at all? Did you have any plan whatsoever? Like, I don't know.
I would be the most paranoid. I would be the most paranoid person in Bravos, for sure. Like, she's just in there enjoying. Oh, this is a nice little stream here, you know, just like perched on the bridge. Oh man, that was crazy.
It was a sloppy scene. That was one scene I definitely
I thought
didn't
just
like.
all of that, you know, just that one episode, even with the actress, right? They developed her a little bit, and then she just gets killed. Hey, no big deal. You just die. You know, like not a big deal. That whole thing, I think, was sloppy in my opinion, at least the writing, from the writing standpoint. But
I don't know. I felt like the whole Faceless Man thing was sloppy. I liked the idea of it, but I think the execution of it was, I don't think they had enough time. Because you never really see her being trained anyway. It's always just like, do this, do that.
Well, when she was blind, you
what do I do? But she's not even really trained then. She just gets the shit kicked out of her until she decides to stop
I always considered her story to be more of a montage than like a full story. And so like when it cuts away and goes to different parts of the world, I always feel like her time is still going and she's still being trained. There's more happening behind the scenes. And they just come back for, you know, like the important shit.
Yeah, I don't know. You just never see a scene where there's any actual training, like any instruction, I guess I should say. Like, it's not like when this guy swings a bow staff at you, you can do this or that, you know. And I know they're not going to go into. They did with Sirio though. Sirio, I believe his name is the blade dancer from Bravos. You know, like. Yeah. When she's being instructed, you see her actually training. And so she's getting better with the weapon that she has. But the Faceless, all the scenes with the Faceless, there's never any instruction. There never is. It's always just do this, do that. And then she's like, how do I do that? And he's just always like, a girl will find a way. You know, like he's just like, he's like the guy that's like, just
they'll fucking figure it out.
Has it in her.
I don't know. There's just no actual training. It's just like, get your shit beat in long enough that you finally learn how to defend yourself somehow. You know, like, I don't know. It seemed weird. And yeah, go ahead.
I can't wait until she runs into the Hound. I actually want to see that scene because, you know, that's going to happen probably very soon.
What now? What scene?
When she runs into the Hound. Like, they're going to cross paths at some point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she thinks he's dead. And obviously, you know, she's going to be in for a big surprise. But he's off of her list now, right? So he's not going to be.
I think she felt like she already killed him. See, that's the thing.
I don't know.
Here's the thing: is like there was this almost underlying friendship developing between them, and so what I and this is again one of my theories. You know, it's not based on anything but my own whatever. What I think is that she feels like, and she has felt like, the revenge against the Hound, Sandor Clegane or whatever his name is. That's over. She's done her bit. She left him to die. That was her decision. She could have ended it, but she didn't. She walked away. Now, for some miraculous reason, he survived. Now, if Arya does meet up with the Hound, which I think that she will meet up with the Hound, and I think that it's going to come to Sir Robin, who was the Mountain, I think there's going to be some kind of three-way thing where she's wanting to kill the Mountain, Arya is, because he's on the list, right? And then Sander wants to kill him for all the reasons of him being his brother and burning his face and all that shit. And I feel like she's gonna be like, "You're my friend. Go ahead and take this one." Like, I feel like it's gonna be like that. Yeah, because I feel like she's gonna run to the Hound again, and it's gonna be like, "You're still alive," and he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, somehow it's not like, "Oh, I have to kill you again." Like, she's already
it won't be.
She's
that,
already got her revenge. Like they're gonna be. I think that they're gonna like understand each other, like that whole like head nod, like yeah.
I think the Hound will die in that triangle. I think that will happen, and I think the Hound will die in that scene. And Arya, like saving Arya, or some kind of scene like that, some kind of very dramatic scene where he comes and saves her, or he steps in front while he gets stabbed, and then Arya kills in the mountain. Something like that, I think, will happen, and it will be powerful. I don't think the Hound will live to the end of the game.
No, because he needs his ultimate redemption, right? He needs his ultimate redemption. He's a man reborn, basically, and so now he's gone off, and they've got the Brothers Without Banners, or not Brothers Without Banners, the companions, the friendly companions, or something. What is it? I forget what it's called. The group that he walks up and he's like, I get this one, but you guys get these two or whatever. The guys that are hanging. It's like he's already started his way down that path, like, of redemption and getting back at these people. He's almost got his own Arya list, But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. I definitely think he's gonna die, and he's gonna die in a heroic way, and it's going to redeem this character in the eyes of many people. What that is, I don't know. But I think it's definitely going to happen some way. Brotherhood Without Banners. Yeah, but what's the Brotherhood Without Banners is Dondarrion's, I believe, is Dondarrion's group, which I do believe that some of these guys were part of. One of the guys actually won the archery competition at Robert Baratheon's festival when Ned Stark was named the king. One of the guys that got hanged. It's neither here nor there. Just some extra trivia lore. But the thing is that, like, there's the other one. It's like the Friendly Companions or something. Somebody in chat will throw it out there. But the Brave Companions. That's it. The Brave Companions were the Bloody Murmurs that were led by Vargo Host. That's the guy who cut off Jaime's hand.
Right.
So I do think that some of those guys has crossed Sandor, and I think that they were killed. I'm not sure. I feel like those guys were part of the Brave Companions and also part of Brave. I'll have to look it up. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So
it's a lot to keep up with.
We're actually running a little bit out of time, but let's touch on Daenerys. We haven't even talked about Daenerys yet, and just whole storyline. Right. So
what's there to talk about?
What's there to talk about?
She's
all of a sudden leading the Dothraki now. I mean,
she didn't die. Another thing burned down. She didn't die.
I'm just waiting for next season for her to take over like Dorne or some shit. Just like now I'm your ruler. Hey, what's up?
What's amazing about Daenerys is that, she's fireproof, right? And obviously she's mother to dragons, but she's very killable. I don't, that's the one character that I feel like has no ability.
Like one arrow to her heart and she's doomed.
Yeah, one arrow to her gut, and she's not Arya. So one arrow to her gut and she would die. So that's what's been amazing about Daenerys this entire time. She's had bodyguards, obviously, and they've been, awesome fighters, but she's very, very vulnerable. I wonder if that will eventually catch up to her. Being knocked off a dragon, even just falling from the skies, it just that killer, right?
I think Daenerys Targaryen is probably one of the most boring characters in the show.
Whoa.
And I feel that way because it's almost like you're never surprised with her. Like, she's just pretty much Daenerys. That's why I was like, what are we talking about? Like, when she gets captured by the
Dothraki, it was like, all right, well, she's gonna get out of this, like, and she's gonna do it on her own somehow. She might get a little bit of help, but like she'll fuck them up,
There's nothing that's like, I just don't feel like the character is showing enough change, and I don't know if that's the actress or not, or maybe just the character itself, but like, it's always the same story with her. She's just a straightforite character, and that's not a bad thing. It just makes her uninteresting to me because
she hasn't had like an arc since season 2. I feel like she after she got the Unsullied and took over Marine, she really hasn't. She's had a few emotional moments with her dragons when she had to like chain them up and put them underground and stuff like that. Was a pretty heartbreaking moment.
Right.
But I agree, as a character, once she figured out how fucking badass and strong and like worthwhile she was, like she hasn't really grown from there. Like, not that maybe she doesn't need to, but
she's already
seasons
perfect.
later, it's like, yeah, she's already perfect.
Well,
it's like, it's kind of hard to root for a character who doesn't make strides to like become someone else at the end of a season, you know, like,
it's not,
or at least change something about themselves.
It's not just that too. It's we know how the plot, you know, we know where this is going, right? And it's like for the longest time, it's taken, you know, that storyline, Daenerys just even getting back to King's Landing is taking forever, right? It's taken basically 5 seasons, 6 seasons to get there, and you know we're finally there. We're all finally on ships headed there. But this whole time, we knew she was going to get back there. Like, we know she's going to be in that last battle. And for me, the only question at this point is whether she dies in the last battle. You know,
well, pretty much, yeah.
That's it.
What are the defining moments from Daenerys Targaryen? Okay, and if you look at it, it's when her brother was killed. When her brother was killed, I think that's the first thing where you finally see her coming into her own. Then the the place burns and she survives and the dragons are hatched. That's another thing. And then after that, the only really meaningful scene I feel like is the next burning scene, which is just kind of a replay of the first burning scene, just different.
Essentially, yes.
You know, like it's pretty much essentially is what it is. What I would have liked to see, and I think they had a missed opportunity, and I don't know what the fuck about. I'm just a guy, you know, that watches this shit. I'm not the director and, you know, whatever. But what I feel like was a missed opportunity was the dragons and her relationship with those dragons and how that forms and how that comes about. What it makes her more interesting, and it makes the lore of the story more interesting, because it develops a part that everybody's kind of clueless about. What are dragons? How are they tamed? How are they ridden? How do you raise a dragon? You know, these things, you know, we know some things
how to train a dragon.
How to train a dragon. It's a movie. Pixar movie. We have the movie. No, but seriously, like she puts, we know that the black dragon, Drago or whatever his name is, he's the biggest because he was allowed to flourish outside in nature, while the other two are smaller because they were kept in confined. You know, like how, like I wanted to see a relationship with her and the two chained up ones more than we did. I want her to go down there. I want her to have a remorse. I want her to have, you know, like feel for these. She's their mother. She wants to let them out. Maybe she does. You know, maybe she flies away. Maybe she raises them. So like I wanted to see that relationship. I wanted to see that build, and I wanted to see it build the lore, and I wanted to see it build her character. And it just seemed like dragons are cool. Dragons show up. Dragons stay in a cave, and then dragons burn ships. And it's like, and now I'm writing it. It's like we still don't know how why she's writing it. Like the back of that dragon looks at fucking spikes everywhere. Like where the fuck is she
uncomfortable?
Like,
yeah.
Like when did this all happen?
She's wearing a lot of clothes. Like it's very exposed clothing attire that she's wearing. She's getting poked and prodded
and stuff. It's like,
and you know, you gotta think like CGI's got to be expensive. You know, like somebody in the chat's mentioning. You know,
sure,
CGI's got, you know, the scene with the dragons have to be limited stuff, you know, but like I don't know, get you know, I don't know, Creature Workshop or something and figure get Labyrinth creative with it. I don't know, you don't need everything CGI, but I don't know, I just felt like she was so plain and so unchanging and so boring. I love her, but I'm just kind of bored by her. I just think there's like infinitely more interesting characters.
The characters around her, I think, have been more interesting, right? Like Tyrion, obviously joining that storyline, I think has been great.
So Jorah,
Jorah.
So I like his scenes where he's trying to get drunk, and like have parties with like her assistants and stuff, and he's like trying to get them to get drunk and stuff.
Tell jokes.
Those are my favorite. They're like super awkward.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Ser Jorah. Ser Jorah is like my spirit animal of me being like 18 or like my early 20s. Right. He's like, you know, I'm in love. I'm in a difficult situation. I've got to win her love back. Like that was totally me in my early 20s. And like I was such a romantic. It's like he's my spirit animal. So every time I see Ser Jorah, I'm like, yeah. But yeah, you're right. The characters around him.
You know, the thing about Jorah is that I felt like they had a moment at the end with him that I thought they would have when he dies. You know, where she finally says that, you know, she does have love for him, basically, right? Just for just being somebody just so devoted to her and things like that. I felt like that was going to happen when he died. So it's pretty clear he's not going to die, just being sent off. I mean, that would just be the lamest thing for him to die that way.
I don't know. Look at Marjorie.
Dude, Marjorie's sudden, though. Sir Jorah, oh, hey, just go off and just die from your gray skin, just this terrible death by yourself, and we're not going to even show it. I mean, that's pretty crappy, right? So he's going to somehow find a cure for it, or at least contain it in some way, just to his arm. And then come back, and I'm sure he'll have another moment. But I wasn't expecting that moment until later. It was nice. It was really cool. I mean, it was a powerful scene for have Jorah and Daenerys having that scene.
Did you guys feel like she was way too fucking hard on him for what he did?
Oh yeah.
I get being a ruler and like all that stuff and everything, but like, by the time he came back as like a slave and like I became a slave so I could see you, I'd be like, all right, listen, just come have dinner with me. Like we'll figure it out.
Let's hash it out. Let's just hash it out.
Okay, it's clear you made a mistake and people make mistakes and that was a different time. You didn't know me. Now you know me. All right, let's do it. Like I felt like she just was so rough with him, man. Like
especially since she spent like most of her time freeing slaves and being sympathetic to slave people. Yeah. And he comes back like, guess what? I was a slave for a little bit to get back to you. And she's like, the fuck? Fuck you. I never asked you to do that. Fuck yourself. Get out of here.
He got his ass whooped. Hold on a second. He got his ass whooped too right before that happened. So
Jorah's always getting his ass.
I know.
Whooped.
It's like, dude.
But that's Jorah.
This guy's a
Jorah's the guy
fighter, man.
He's the whipping.
He's a great fighter. He's actually like a world-renowned fighter. But he's like Sir Barristan. Yeah, he's getting old, But like, I don't know. That's always kind of been his thing, right? It's always redemption with him. He makes one big mistake and then he fucks up. Like he was caught poaching or something, which is why he got kicked off Bear Island in the first place by Ned Stark. Yeah. Because he was doing some illegal shit with the Mormont family. I mean, that is, I think. The girl who's the queen now for the Mormons. I think that's Jorah's like her uncle or cousin or something like that. Like he's a part of that family. Like that's Sir Mormont's at the Wall. That's like his son. Like he's part of all this, but he was banished. He was banished because of what he did. He fucked up and broke the laws, and Ned Stark kicked him out. So that was the first mistake he made. And in trying to remedy that mistake and try to get back in good graces, he ended up betraying Daenerys really early before he knew her. And so it's like this one mistake is like echoed throughout his thing. So it's not just a redemption for Daenerys. It's a redemption for his first dishonorable mark as well. It's like a continuation of this long story of him trying to redeem himself from that first thing. So I don't know. And again, any of these things I'm throwing out, this is stuff I looked up years ago. So I'm like, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure Ned Stark kicked him off the island for poaching or lying or stealing something like that. I can't remember.
All right, last storyline that we'll go over. Diction, what do you think is going to eventually happen with Sam? And Jilly, of course, but Sam, like, is Sam going to have some kind of huge role in the end here? I mean, he's going to be a Meister of some sort, right?
I feel I'm having a brain fart. Which one's Sam again?
The chubby guy, the chubby guy that went to his parents. Yeah.
All right.
The Wall, right?
Yeah, he's been my hands down my favorite character of the show.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like him too, but that's
he like along with Arya. I feel like and Jon Snow. I feel like he's had the most like ridiculous arc. Like he started as this fucking fat, pathetic, sad, cowardly dude, and now he's this. I mean, he still is really awkward and not terribly confident, but the dude fucking killed a White Walker. And he knows that there's something special about him, and now he's like, he can't stand up to his father, which is more like, it's like a childhood thing. I don't know. I don't know where. I can't place where he's going to end up. I feel like it could go many directions. He could eventually be back up with Jon Snow. He could. I mean, maybe he'll go to King's Landing. Maybe I really don't know where he's going to end up.
I mean, it's really about what he's going to learn. I feel like he's going to be some kind of brains behind all this, right? He's going to figure out some way to defeat the White Walkers, or
I feel like he's going to
keep them dead, right? To permanent or be able to negate the power of just reviving dead bodies. I mean, how do you beat that? You go and you kill. I mean, every time they kill a guy, they get an additional person to their army.
Dragons.
You know, dragons. Yeah, okay,
dragons is what it's
dragons,
of
course, will be part of it, but fire
it's a
and
strong
ice,
fire and ice.
Yeah, fire
is
and
what
ice.
it is. You know, like ice is the thing. Dragons are the fire. Like it's gonna end up where all these southern people, you know, we're coming to Westeros. We're gonna take over Westeros. That'll be season 7, right? And then by the end of season 7, it'll be, oh shit, we were all bickering and everything, but we've got this army of undead. Let's all band together.
There's only 3 dragons, though. I mean,
there's only 3 dragons, but those are fucking powerful dragons. Like what undead is gonna go against a dragon? You know, like what single undead? I mean, it doesn't matter if there's mass of them. You just burn them all. They're weak to fire. Like I don't know. It's like a Pokemon. It's like a fire type versus a water type. It's like it's super effective, right? But reverse. like the fire
damage boost is giant.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Sam. I don't care what Sam does as long as Gilly is gone. Like, I fucking hate Gilly so much. Gilly's unthinkable face. In every look, I wish I didn't have this beard so I could do the look right. But she always looks like she has no fucking idea what's happening. She's always got this face where like her top teeth hang out further than her bottom lip, and like her lower lip is like tucked in, so she's always like. Like I don't know shit. I'm just.
She has an overbite. Okay, you fucking insensitive prick.
She looks like
you never
like
saw her on Skins.
Thinkless rabbit. Like she just like she doesn't have a thought in her head. Like you just look at her
because
and you just
she's inbred. She can't.
She's inbred.
She's
a wildling, man. She's a wildling. She's lucky she's not this giant ogre.
Yeah,
she's lucky she's a woman or she would have been fed.
Like, so they don't have education out there. Like,
God, she's so
the odds
annoying.
were stacked against her from birth, man. Okay,
she got a cute
big
kid,
guy. I'm glad she fucks big guys, you know. But like, that can't be enough. That's not enough for them. Like, I'm glad you gave Sam, took his V card. That's super great. You know, like, I'm glad you took that one for the team. But I mean, I don't know. Gilly's just, I like Sam. I think Sam has got a really interesting story. I don't think he's my favorite, like Diction's, but I think that Diction's absolutely right when he's got one of the craziest story arcs and one of the most, what's the word I'm thinking about? He's the least likely person that you would expect to go on an adventure like that, right?
Yeah,
that's what makes it so exciting. What I think is going to happen is he's going to go there to become a maester. I think he's going, and this is kind of my crazy brain, and this also has some tie into the books too. I think that he's going to find a way to harness some sort of magic. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be fireballs out of his hand or anything like that, but I think that now that the dragons have been born, we've seen bits and pieces of magic coming back into the world. We've seen resurrections. We've seen resurrections in many different forms. We've seen people being brought back to life as themselves, and then we've seen people being brought back to life as zombies. And because that magic is out there, and also because there's a scene in the book, and somebody's gonna have to maybe do some research on this because it's been a while since I read it, but there's a scene in the book that has to deal with Old Town, I think is what it is, and somebody steals something and like turns into water or something. Like it's really crazy. It's a very small portion of the book. It's very obscure, but it's some kind of reference to like magic or somebody's learning, steals something from the maesters. And I think that Sam will learn something that allows him to have some kind of connection with magic, if even it is just to stop the undead horde.
Do you think there's any significance in the sword that he steals from his father?
Well, it's Valyrian steel.
Yeah, it's Valyrian steel. So.
It's one of like 5 swords in the world. I mean, it's gonna come in. It's hands, Chekhov's gun.
That's nothing, right? It's
the Chekhov's gun. They show it, and then like eventually he's gonna use it. So it's gonna happen. Like he's gonna do something with it.
He's gonna give it to Gilly, and she's gonna stab herself with it because she's not
my
smart
God.
enough. I'm sorry.
You're such a bastard.
Sudoku, please.
I really don't like her.
Hands it to her.
Every time she's, have you ever seen somebody just has a face you don't like it? You just can't. There's nothing.
I'm looking at one right now,
actually.
Hey, no.
Diction? Are we friends?
I'm punching it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm punching. I don't know. Sam is one of those characters that like anything can happen. You can do anything with Sam. It's just like he can kill White Walkers. He can get the girl, however, whatever the girl is. He can, like he can be a maester, but he's super cowardly, but in flashes he gets courageous. Like he's a super interesting character. And it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in all of this, because he's got to be a big piece because they've harped on him for so long.
And he's unique too, because he still stayed very innocent, right? I mean, for the most part, and hasn't been corrupted by the this Westeros world that we've seen with literally every single other character. And I think that's the reason why people love him so much. And he may be the only character that survives at the end that has those qualities. Because George R. R. Martin loves to kill him as well as the writers.
They gotta kill him because everyone loves
guys, man. Exactly.
If they killed Hodor, they can kill Sam. All right.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like Sam.
We're talking about beloved characters. Wait,
do you
think that Hodor was more beloved than Sam? As just like everyone loves him kind of way.
Yeah, but it was like mascot type of thing. I don't know if his character people.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like literally
no substance.
Yeah.
I can see that. I don't know. I just see Sam as being like the perfect candidate to kill, because he's going to have the most emotional response, right? Because there's people who don't like Cersei, and people who do like Cersei, and people who don't like Arya and do like Arya. People who don't like these. It's the people that like everyone kind of bands behind, like Sam, because he's so flawed and he still works past his problems. Like he's the most likely to be killed, because he's the most likely to trigger emotional response. So I think Sam's not off the chopping block, personally.
So I'm just doing this as spicy, but I predict that Jilly lives and Sam dies. And there's gonna be
Jilly kills Sam.
No, okay, I can't go.
Jilly becomes a White Walker and kills him.
Oh
my God. The baby they have grows up and kills them both.
Oh, the baby.
The baby's actually a dragon.
God, man.
Yeah, who knows who the father is, right? No, wait.
That's a weird timeline too, though, right? No, the father is Castor.
Oh, it's Castor. You're right.
It's her dad. Her dad's the father.
Yeah, I totally forgot that.
Stupid.
The last time her dad's the father was mentioned in a media position, it was on Jerry Springer's show. Okay, so her dad. You are the father. Oh shit.
That's Maury.
Start throwing chairs.
Maury. Yeah, Maury.
Yeah.
It's like,
all right.
I don't know.
Well.
I'm trying to think. Are we closing out? You closing up shop?
We probably should wrap up. If Diction here has got a stream.
Damn, we got so much to talk about.
Everyone wants us to talk about Jon Snow. There's nothing to say. He came back from the dead. He's still a badass. Like that's it. That's all there is to say.
Honestly,
Jon Snow is a Targaryen.
To be honest, Jon's character, outside of just the anticipation for him coming back, his character's been kind of boring too. Like
a little bit. Same old.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect?
They threw him into another spectacular battle sequence where he fucking survives. It was awesome. Don't get me wrong. It was fucking awesome. But that's his role now.
All of my favorite episodes have Jon Snow in it. Like all of my favorite, because it's always like you guys said, like it's this build up, big battle, build up, big battle. Like Jon's the one out there on the fucking front lines all the time in this show. He's always in battle. It always gets more amazing. But I think Hardhome, that scene where he's floating off, and I got to give credit to that actor. Was it Kit Harington?
Yeah, Kit
Harington.
Yeah, he like in his face, just the way he was looking at the guy on the it was just back. He was like on the boat going away, and he's looking at them, and it's like bad enough that everybody got slaughtered, and then he just just raises, and that look he gives like.
Holy shit!
As he just stares the same way as he's floating away, just like.
Well, it's
like we're so fucked.
Exactly.
I can't wrap my mind around how fucked
it's the look of despair, man. It's like
Hardhome was the best, but I agree. Jon, I think, is a little boring too, but he climaxes, man. He's like
he's smooches over all of our faces,
man. All of our faces every time. He always, he might be boring, but in the end, he performs. He always does his thing. He's like boring, amazing, boring, amazing. So I guess he's boring in a sense, but I still feel
he just doesn't feel fully dedicated to everything he's doing right now. It's like it's okay, all right, we'll go back to Winterfell. okay, we'll fight when we don't have enough soldiers, even though I don't know why you didn't tell me, Sansa, for whatever reason. that a lot
she
of
doesn't want to get in bed with Peter Baelish.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so it's been most of that. He's just been reluctant with everything he's done ever since he's come back. Been rezzed, right? He's valued life a little bit more. Doesn't want to fight, but he ends up still in this battle. So that's on purpose. I would say that is on purpose to somehow just to not make him this all powerful character in just the remainder of the season. We'll have to see how that ends up affecting maybe the whole Sansa Baelish thing, right? Baelish obviously is still going to have some influence on Sansa. Will Sansa get power hungry in some way? They're alluding to all that, right, in that last scene where just those glances from different, when everybody's pledging their allegiance, right, to Jon Snow. So we'll have to see how that plays out in the next season. But hopefully,
I think there should be.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be more. Hopefully there'll be more like that he can work with, at least, instead of just being that Daenerys type. Like, he's gonna be the guy that's gonna be around too for the end. For this huge battle at the end. The question is, are they just gonna stay in the north the whole time? Or are they gonna come down? Are they gonna there's gonna be a big battle in King's Landing. Is he gonna come down for that for a little bit and then join forces and head north, or?
Well, the wall's got to come down. The wall's got to the Brandon the Builder built, because it's magically infused. It's got to come down somehow.
Yeah.
So but here's my last point about Jon. That I think is pretty awesome. Maybe not about Jon himself, but about the writing. Like, huge kudos to George R.R. Martin for creating Jon Snow and the trials and tribulations of his character, but plus being able to so expertly weave in the social changes that are happening that allow Jon Snow to thrive. So think about like having a bastard as a leader. Like that was unheard of, in Westeros. But Ramsay took over. He backstabbed. Now it's set like a precedence that sort of being a bastard can happen and you can be in charge, right? And this is the social change that's happening that ends up later affecting Jon Snow in his position now as King of the North. And that takes some crazy writing chops to be able to justify a story, not only just for a character, but also culturally within the realm of this fantasy world, to be able to wrap that all around. I just thought we'd just give a moment to George R.R. Martin, because that was fucking brilliant. And the writers and directors for keeping up with that, because that's tough. That's tough to tie in all those things and make those changes. Just a
lot of shit they got to keep track.
Yeah, exactly. that is like, and this was all in one guy's head. How long has he been thinking about this story? Just going over every detail. How does this work? How does that work? And finally, when in his older age, he sits down and writes it out. And it makes sense, and for the most part, and it's like, it's insane. So that's the last thing I'll say about it. It's just Jon Snow's character is interesting, but everything that goes around this story to make Jon Snow where he's at today is just as, if not more, interesting. So to me, anyways. Are we ready to reveal our next?
Yeah. Well, I mean, last comment about Game of Thrones, they did reveal season 6 or 7. They mentioned that it's gonna, or they announced that it's gonna be in the summer. So it's going to actually start a little bit later than we're used to, and it's only going to be 6 episodes. Is it 6 or yeah? I think it's 6,
7. I think they said.
It's a 7 episodes. 7 episodes. Yeah, it's going to be 7 episodes.
But it might be a half season.
I heard they're going to be a little bit longer, though. Is that true? It's rumored that they're a little bit longer. I didn't read that, no. Okay, it's going to be
hopefully.
Sad if it
I mean,
yeah.
It maybe could work, because right after that, Silicon Valley comes on, and that's only a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
So they could go like an hour and a half and then throw in the 30-minute.
That show's too short too. Gosh, it drives me crazy.
God, I love that. We could do a show on that.
yeah, we could definitely. So yeah,
people are saying 7 episodes.
There's only 2 more seasons left, guys. So it's gonna be sad, but I'm sure these last 2 seasons are gonna be crazy, and it's gonna be great. We'll definitely have episodes about season 7 at the end of it, of course. But Elohim, you just mentioned talking about next week, Diction. You want to, I guess, let folks know what we're going to be talking about next week?
Okay. All right. We're going to be talking about Stranger Things. It's a new show on Netflix. I just finished it a couple days ago. It is fantastic. It's so good. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, I accidentally flashed this earlier, so people probably knew it.
You did a spoiler in our spoiler podcast. It's fine. It's cool.
Man. So yeah,
maybe you should do that every episode. Just like try to flash it really quick, like subliminal messaging. You know, like see people catch
Stay
it.
true to the show.
Yeah.
So for those of you who this is our very first episode of the show. So what we're talking about right now, to give you guys some context, what we're hoping this becomes is if you guys have enjoyed the show today and the open discussion, a lot of us, the three of us, have always wanted to discuss these things openly, talk about our in a large forum, and be able to do so again without having the retribution of people who haven't seen it. So we named the show. Spoiler alert, we want to make that aware for you guys. But part of the show too is including you guys in this discussion, including you guys in what we do. So the idea is that during this next week, before the next show, you guys will jump on Netflix and watch Stranger Things. So you guys bang this out in a week. It's been out for a week already. Yep. If you can, no pressure, and there will be different time commitments to these things than others. But by the time that we come back next week, you guys will have watched it, and we can have a nice open discussion about it, just like we did today with Game of Thrones. So it's almost kind of like a book club, but for all media, really. So we're doing another show, like you said, Stranger Things is going to be on Netflix. So we would encourage you guys to go watch it and take the homework that we're giving you, and then come back and have a discussion with us. Yeah. And have a discussion with us about it and jump in. And I think that one thing we're going to try to work on is including you guys a little bit more in what we're doing as well, so that you guys can get your opinions out there and we can talk about those as well. So that's some context to what we're talking about. So like Diction said, the big reveal is Stranger Things next week, guys. So if you care about the show and you want to keep up with it, this is a great time. It's Ground Floor, episode 1. You guys can say you've been here from the beginning.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about Stranger Things next week. And I've only seen like half of episode 1, so I'm gonna have to watch a lot of that. So.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting from this.
I'm bummed out.
It was so cool because I was already planning on watching it this week, and then we literally decided before the show, let's do Stranger Things next week. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
it works out perfect.
It won't always be a show too. Remember, this could be a graphic novel or a video game, movie, whatever, man. You know hell, we might even talk about a Broadway show.
We could do music. We could do albums or whatnot too. Like whatever.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we can talk about.
What about like short form serial, like the Serial podcast? Like if I think they have a season 2 out or something. You know, like something like that. I want to
listen to all that. Yeah, you can do a podcast. Yeah, Serial is a great podcast. Woo, Serial. I mean, we could do anything that we want with this. Making a Murderer would have been a really good show to do. You know, like we could talk about all sorts of stuff. So the idea is, again, to get together, talk about these things, have an open forum, but also, hopefully expose you guys to new media. Maybe there's things that we've seen that you haven't. We'll throw our recommendations out there. We'll talk about them next week, see how you guys feel about it. You like it, you dislike it. And that's sort of the heart of the show. So we really hope you guys embrace that and join us on this as we explore new and exciting things in media, and even going back too, not even all new stuff. We hope to go back a bit and catch up on some pretty prominent things as well.
Go way back in time.
Yeah.
Watch Thomas Edison's first like
was it George Messiah or something like that, like the trip to what is it? It's like
I thought he filmed a train. He just filmed the train coming towards the camera, and that was like the first movie.
Oh my gosh.
Something really
that was like the first thing they ever showed in public, but I think the first movie ever made was A Trip to the Moon. I think it's on Netflix. I think it is like the original. It's like George
Trip to the Moon. No way.
Yeah, I think it was like the very first movie, not just like scene, because like that's just a train moving, whatever. I think it was the very considered the first movie, or one of the first, if not the first.
First movie ever made in history, 1867, by the Lumiere brothers.
Oh my god!
And it's like I see, it's a train coming at the camera, and then people get on the train, and that's it. That's the whole movie.
That's like a movie.
I will. Like everybody watching, I will spare you guys from that. I will not let them choose that.
We can do a whole podcast on this 49-second film.
Let them choose that.
Okay, I guess the Lumiere brothers where I guess that is credited with the first thing, but what? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right, well, let's do some shout outs.
Don't try to wrap me up.
Addiction, yeah, you want to do some shout outs and where people can find you?
Sure. I'm EatMyDiction1. There's a 1 at the end. You can find me at twitch.tv/EatMyDiction1. I also have a YouTube channel, same URL, just put YouTube instead of Twitch. I stream Monday through Friday, and then Sunday through Friday. Sorry, Sunday through Friday, varying mostly 11 a.m. to whenever ? And I also do Fucked Up Fridays with some friends of mine. Friday night, 7:30 p.m. PST. That's me. Right. That's what I do. I have a fat cat as well. She's not here right now though.
Fat cats are always important. Hello. Everybody knows you here, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's on my channel. If you don't know who I am, though, if you have or YouTube or whatever, I am Elohim. I stream on Twitch. Usually, this last week has been pretty crazy. We've had Junie's been sick, and we've been trying to close on a house, so the streams have been pretty sparse. But I'm hoping to pick back up tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to grab some RimWorld. I stream really early in the morning, like 4 a.m. usually, anywhere from like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. And that's Eastern time, and I stream up until everybody important gets on, and then they take me over and I jump off. So I'm kind of your late night guy, and I'm very vulgar. Yeah, so if you jump in, I'm not, homophobic or racist or anything like that, but I'm definitely very Howard Stern sometimes when we talk about penises and vaginas and
what else is there to talk about? Exactly. Come on.
Yeah, not at 5 a.m. There's the only thing to talk about.
There's not enough of that at 5 a.m.
Yeah, there's not enough penis and vagina at 5 a.m. in my opinion. So that's kind of me, and I welcome you guys to join us in the future for all future shows. They're gonna be 1 o'clock right here on this channel next week, and yeah, that's all I have to say. Man.
Yeah, and for me, just thanks to you guys for doing the show with me. This has been a lot of fun. Everybody for watching, and can't wait to do just a lot more of these in the coming weeks. You can find my stuff on. I do a lot of shows. If you guys aren't familiar with what I do podcast shows in the Overwatch and Hearthstone space. If you're into that, you can check out all the VODs at youtube.com/ChanmanV. My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/ChanmanV, and you can look up some of those podcasts too on iTunes and whatnot. I'm gonna try to get this one on iTunes too eventually once we get things rolling and stuff. So those that can't watch it live or are not on YouTube for whatever reason, you'll be able to listen.
Can
to
pay us $20 and download it on iTunes.
Yeah.
We'll put it up for $20 on iTunes.
Oh my gosh!
Put up 5,000 bits and we'll give it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, guys, the last thing I want to throw out there though is if you guys have any suggestions for the show, you can hit me up personally. I have my DMs open on Twitter, so that's the best way. I may not respond to all of you, but your suggestions and comments, both critical and both criticism and whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Feedback.
We're accepting feedback.
There you go. Feedback.
Just send them to me in the DM on Twitter, and I would really appreciate it because we're going to be striving to make this show fucking amazing. So.
Also, I'm going to start a spoiler alerts channel in my Discord server too, just to talk about the show and stuff. So you can go there for now. I don't actually have the channel up right now, but it'll be a place for at least people that like this show just to hang out there and talk about it. But that's going to be it, though, guys, for this week. So for EatMyDiction 1, I'm sorry about the 1, by the way, Nick. And Elohim and myself, ChanmanV, we'll see you next week.
Later. See you guys. Watch Stranger Things.
Watch Stranger Things.
That's right.
Do your homework.
Do your homework, son.